Yes, good evening, good evening, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Let's make some content. Let's do it. It is a put up debate, Savva. It's not really. It's a fan calling show where hopefully we get people that want to debate. Some people might want to just vent. But as always, please, when you come on, have something to talk about. There's too many people lately that don't have anything to say. They come on screen and they just look at me and I'm like, what? I don't know what you want me to say. What do you want to debate? So I will be asking you, what do you want to debate or what do you want to discuss? Please have something that you want to discuss. I'll put the link in the chat very, very soon. In other news, Tottenham. Now we've got a virus, have we? We've got this week's excuse all well and truly sorted. We've got a virus. I'm hearing rumours that Fraser Forster isn't even going to be fit to play. I don't know how true that is. The transfer window's open. I've seen YouTubers today talking about Spurs signing Mamouche. I can't understand why we think we would get him, but okay, we'll go with it. And good afternoon to all of you inside the place. I'll put the link in the chat in a minute. Otherwise, if I put it on now, people come in within seconds and I haven't had a chance to really get going. Good afternoon to Mark Cook, to Anna Dawes, talking about the injuries. Absolutely. Big up to Ethan Bates, a man flu or Ange flu, says Sue. Very good, very good. Tony Rodriguez inside the house. Ange out. I couldn't always, each and every day, Ange out. Ryan Mason might have to play at this point. Get him in. He can't do worse than some of our players. But it is what it is. We move, don't we, as the kids say. Big up to FC25. Robert Wilson is blaming Madison from the darts. Rule of the universe. George Adam Jones. Just your general Av geek. I love that. Don't know what that means, but hey, I like it. When it rains, it pours. Lexi's fun channel. Big up Lexi, whoever you are. The workers' reading room. Yeah, I saw Angie's comments about Yang. Everything this guy says just screams amateur, doesn't it? Oh, he said, the club, it's difficult to plan for January. Why is it? That's the club's job. That's the scouts and the recruitment teams and the director of football job. All year round, their job is for 2 transfer windows. Like, it's madness. Any chance for Sabello to come on again? Listen, let's see who wants to come on today. Jessica said, I used to love watching us. Now it seems a bit meh. Best word in football, isn't it? Meh. It's just a great word in general. By the way, we're only 4 subscribers away from 15.2k. If 4 of you want to smash that subscribe button, then please do. I'll post the link in the chat. Just be aware that something we might talk about, I might post as a video to say, hey, what do you think of this? Do you believe in this? Here's an epic debate we had, all this kind of stuff. Big up, Kate. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're well. Yeah, listen, injuries, viruses. I mean, at some point, big up, Aaron. At some point, we're actually just going to say what it is, aren't we? Big up to Blacker Music. How you doing? Long time no see. Big up to Philly. I feel like that is a challenge myself. I don't know what that means, but hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Basuma and Dorrington as centre back tomorrow. That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? I'm at the stage where I think a lot of what is going on with Tottenham is very funny. It's our own fault. We didn't buy a squad. We said in the summer when everyone was waxing lyrical, talking about finish third, we said, well, what about injuries? Oh, you won't get injured. Here we are. Where are we? Paul 1, 2, 3. Big up to you. The Reptile Keeper said we need Harry Redknapp as director of football. We do indeed. Billy's here as always and said, Anne said something true. Newcastle last season had similar injuries and in the end finished 7th. When players came back, we'll be okay. Sorry, finishing 7th is not acceptable. And listen, Billy, unfortunately, I'd love to see you come onto this show, Billy, and talk football. I've never seen someone so far up a manager's backside. It's unreal. George says, this is a quick one, Savva. Thanks for yesterday's show. 4 hours must have been hard for everyone. It was nearly 5 hours. It was draining in the end, yes. I think most of it was brilliant, apart from the bits that weren't. Absolutely barbaric. Disdain saying, let's get those likes. and sub smash, people. Look, we do this every show, don't we? We've got 200 in here already, only 45 likes. Caesar is in the background. Caesar, I'll bring you on, but is there something you want to talk about before I bring you on, just so I know? Can you let me know in the chat? I know we met the other day. I just want to know that there is something that you want to talk about, because I need to make sure that the show moves with speed. Ryan has said, love watching the live, Savva. Always looking forward to them. Back to work next week. Yeah, sorry to hear about that, mate. Keep up the good work. Absolutely. Absolutely. I will do. So we've got Caesar waiting, who we met the other day, and then we've got the Hotspur Cave. I love that. I've no idea what he wants to talk about, but sod it. That's part of the fun, isn't it? I'll have a football chat with anybody about anything. Caesar, hello again. How are you?
Good.
You're good? You well?
Yes, we have some transfer news of Brugge.
Sorry, say that again, just a bit slower.
Yeah. Bruce, we have some transfer news out of Bruges.
You want to talk about Club Bruges again? When are Club Bruges next playing, Caesar?
Leuven in the cup, but I have some breaking news.
You've got some breaking news right now?
Yes, Dedrick Boyata, ex-player of Celtic, leaving Man is terminating his contract.
Did you say Dedrick Boyata?
Ex-Manchester City and Celtic.
So where's he going? Do you know? He's leaving Bruges to go where?
No, he's what is the English word of?
Sorry, say that again, Caesar. Just a bit slower.
Contract with Club Brugge and Boyata underling overweg be ended.
Okay, so he's left Club Bruges, yes?
Yes.
And are you bringing in a player to replace him, or is he just leaving?
I don't know what, but this year. It's my mom. Yeah. It's bringing food.
Pizza.
Is your food? I'll tell you what, Caesar. Why don't you eat your food?
What?
Caesar,
wait.
Eat your food, and we'll speak a bit later. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Eat your food, and then call back in a bit later. All right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll see you soon. All right?
Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bless him. Caesar wants to talk about Club Bruges. The problem is I don't know really anything about Club Bruges. So the link is in the chat. I'm going to pin it as well. I'm going to bring in the Hotspur Cave. I like that as a name. The Hotspur Cave, a place where all hopes and dreams for any footballers goes to die, into a Hotspur Cave. That's what it sounds like. Here is the link. I have put it in the chat. I'll pin the message. As I said, please, when you come on, have something you want to talk to me about. And then after that, we got Alf. Old Man City Alf wants to sack the greatest manager of all time. Unbelievably ungrateful. And then after that, we've got Mark D. Big up, my friend. I'm guessing your name is not Mr. Cave.
No. It's Jay. I've been on your call-in show before at the start of last season when after that 10-game run, when I told everyone, I want to talk to you about anger, actually. I think that's what I come on here to talk about. Since
Mate,
then,
the floor is yours, but you know I will bite back, right?
No. I think we're going to agree on a lot of...
I'm joking. Go on, mate.
No, but first of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on your show as always, man. I appreciate it a lot. You get me? You've given me the confidence to start my own channel and start talking about Spurs, man. So thank you a lot, man. I really do appreciate it, and we all appreciate you in this space. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I've been considered the most negative guy on earth because I've been screaming Ange out all season long. After that, from that Leicester game, I said, you know what, this guy is, I don't think it's it for me. Bro, do you believe, right, that when you look at Tottenham, we are just we've all been sold a dream. We've all bought into this dream that we're this really good side who play this amazing style of football. We've got this amazing manager who doesn't care about anything. You know, he's the most nonchalant guy. He gets on with it. Do you think we've been sold a dream, Savva, man?
Yes and no. I think we've been sold a dream, but not in the way you're saying. I think the dream they tried to sell us was with the new stadium. That for me was the dream they tried to sell us. Hey, when we move into this new stadium, we can compete with the other clubs. And since then, we've just been getting, for me, worse and worse. Look, I think the dream we've probably been sold with Ange, and it depends how do I say this without being rude to people, without being gullible or naive. The dream that was sold was, we've got our Tottenham back. And make of that what you will, because people are saying, oh my God, this is what you all wanted. You wanted attacking football. This isn't what I wanted. This for me isn't good attacking football. This is absolutely void of any tactics, any kind of coaching football. So for me, have we been sold a dream? Yeah, in some way. But I mean, look, there's so many people loving what they're seeing at the moment, my man. I don't know what to say about it, Jay.
I think it's a mix of, right. I say we. When I say we, I just mean Tottenham fans in general. In general, not guys like us, but in general.
That's fine.
I think they're so used to mediocrity, so used to just being bang average that we'll accept anything. It's almost like the guy who's never been out, never gone to a fast food restaurant, never experienced outside. He's only used to just rice and beans in the fridge. And then you take him out and you take him to bloody McDonald's and he thinks he's in Nobu. You know what I'm saying? He thinks he's eating dinner in the Shard when it's just Mackey's. We're a bang average side, guys, man. And look, this January window's open. I don't believe we're going to sign anyone. I'm of the belief that we're not going to sign anybody. I know we're what we like to call inquiring FC, keeping an eye on FC. You know, we don't really get the business done. Do you think we're going to get any business done this window?
Yeah, I reckon we'll do some loans, but again, I think I have a feeling it will be very underwhelming. And it listen, I might be wrong, but very rarely in Tottenham windows do I ever get to the end of the window and go, wow. Do you know what I mean? Look, this time last year, I mean, everyone lost their mind, didn't they? You know, Timo Werner, everyone was trying to find ways and reasons as to why this guy was perfect for Ange Ball and he's brilliant. Then when it doesn't work out, they're all going, oh, I just don't get it. And you're like, well, he's not very good. Like, that's why everyone blew so much smoke up the arse of Radu Dragusin. Again, I think he's a good defender. I don't think he's a good defender in this style of play. But again, we had a poor January. The summer I thought was awful. I don't have any reason to believe it's going to be any different, Jay. I think what we'll do is we'll do the same again. We'll sign some players and there'll be, I always say 50-50. Forget, it could be 70-30, whatever. But 50% of the fans will go, oh my God, this is an Ange Ball player. This guy is perfect for Ange Ball. Every excuse under the sun so they can make a YouTube video that makes them look like a world-class fan. The other 50% will be sitting there like us going, really? Like, is that it? Is that what our scouts have been doing all year? So, yes, I think we'll get a few players on loan, but the caliber, I just don't know. What I do know is I bet you we don't sign anywhere near the caliber of an Arsenal do or a Man City do. So, we'll see, mate. We'll see.
Yeah, man, honestly. And my last thing I wanted to ask you was, look, I'm not sure if you're Ange out as well. I know I am. But if Ange was to get sacked, because at the rate he's going, he might not even survive the January transfer window. He might not even survive. We might fall so low down the table that Levy looks and says, this is going to affect our pockets. You got to go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Levy. The only way he's going to really look to sack Ange is if the money stops money in, which is what everyone's been saying right now. If you could get rid of Ange, is there any managers out there that you think could maybe come in and do a job. I know that, look, we know the owners aren't going to change, but who do you think can do a job, man? I'm a fan of Marco Silva.
Look, I am massively Ange out. I mean, I'm not even on the fence about this. Listen, for me, I don't care what Ange does now. I've seen enough that makes me realise his management is piss poor. Yes, injuries. Yes, suspensions. Yes, some virus going through the team. But I've seen enough management in 18 months to make me realise that this guy is a world-class waffler. He waffles and waffles and waffles. He's got every excuse in the world, every reason as to why he didn't make a substitution, every reason as to why he didn't defend. But look, for me, yes, I don't go with this notion, Jay, that many do. I was watching Perchie's channel earlier, and I was in the chat, and there were people going, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter which manager you bring in with these owners." I was like, "Well, hang on. We've had some good managers with these owners who have done some good things." Now, if you want to take it to the point, Jay, where we go, is it worth anyone coming in because we're not going to win league titles and Champions Leagues? Then no. But during Levy's tenure, and I'm Levy out, by the way, but during Levy's tenure, look what top managers can do. Look what Harry Redknapp managed to do. Hardly any budget. Look what Pochettino managed to do with hardly any budget. So all these people that say it doesn't matter who's in charge, of course it bloody matters who's in charge of your team. Yeah. Bournemouth with Iraola. Look, when they sacked O'Neill, no one thought Iraola was going to come in and do such a good job. But anybody that knew anything about him had seen that he's a coach. He'd done really well. He'd built teams. He grew teams. And he's doing it again at Bournemouth. Silva at Fulham, he's learned, and listen, he's not always been my favourite manager, but he's learned and got better at management as he's got older and now looks tactically astute. Thomas Frank at Brentford, he does a wonderful job with a very thin squad with not a lot of money every year. So yes, there are managers that can come in for me that will do a lot better with what they've got. Are they going to win leagues? No. But are we expected to win a league? I don't think so. So yes, for me, yes, I think a different manager does much better, Jay. What about you?
Yeah, man, I think it's about time we change. You know, I'm a big fan of Marco Silva. For me as well, it's like, look, we all wanted Conte out because he refused to change, right? It was defense. There was no balance. It was, we'd be 1-0 down and he'd shut up shop, say, you know what, let's protect the 1-0 loss, which for me was the biggest problem. Now it feels like we've gone to the other side of the spectrum where it's attack, and we're 2-1 up with 2 minutes to go. We're not going to defend the game. We're going to go for the game. I want a manager who knows the perfect balance between attack and defense. He knows sometimes there might be periods of the game where it's like, let's conserve energy. Let's sit in, let them have the ball, right? And I think this is why teams like Liverpool and City are so good at scoring late goals, because they conserve their energy throughout the 90 minutes, which I think is something we struggle to do. We struggle to last a full 90 minutes of football. It's always 60 minutes, 45 minutes, 70 minutes of football. And yeah, man, I think a manager like Marco Silva, Thomas Frank, Iraola, those type of managers are the type of managers that I think can come in and provide us with that, you know?
Listen, I completely agree with you. For me, managers at this level should be tactically astute. And the example I keep giving is if you look at Fulham the other day, going to Stamford Bridge, changing from a back four to play a back five, nullifying their wingers, nullifying Cole Palmer. Then you look at how we decided that we were going to set up at home to Chelsea was just to go on Cole Palmer, have as much football as you want in the middle of the park and just pull strings. It's madness. And yes, people want to see attacking football, but the key word you use there, I'm in agreement with, balance. Know when you can flood forward and when you can't, you know, and I've never seen a team so easily picked apart every single game. And fans just going, oh, I'd rather this than winning 1-0. And you're like, well, would you? I mean, Liverpool should have scored about 11 or 12 against us. I don't ever want to see that from my team. But listen, Jay, I am going to let you go. What I would say is, Jay, in the bio of my chat, can you email me? I'd love to do a show with you once a week or something. I think you come across brilliantly. And somebody has put your link in the chat. There we go. The link to the Hotspur Cave. Please come on, guys and girls. Starting a YouTube channel is tough. It's a lot of work. So please get over there and help. Jay, last thing, give me a score prediction for Newcastle tomorrow, and apparently half our team out with viruses. What do you reckon?
I'm gonna go 3-1 Newcastle. I think we will score first. However, I think that midfield, man, they're so physically astute in midfield that we're gonna get overrun. And I think Maddison will start, which is why we're gonna get overrun in that midfield. So yeah, 3-1.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? As I said, just before I let you go, I've watched Newcastle a couple of times in the last month or so. And whenever I watch them, they look really organized. Like, there's no reinventing of the wheel. There's no inverted fullbacks. Midfielders aren't coming out wide to receive the ball on the wing. They look a well-oiled, well-drilled team that don't try and do anything. I mean, listen, I've got a Newcastle fan in 3 people's time coming on. Craig, who might tell me differently, but I just think they look organized. They look like a unit. And I'm not saying we can't beat them, but I don't know, with Isak, with Gordon, with Lewis Hall, with Trippier, all of these people getting in down our channels, I'm scared, mate. I'll be honest, I'm scared. So I've said 2-1 Newcastle. Happy to be wrong. But listen, find my email address, email me, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Take care, Salomon.
Always. You take care, Jay. Enjoy the rest of your evening, mate.
God bless. Happy New Year. Take care.
And you, mate. Take care. Bye-bye. Big up to Jay. What a lovely guy. Please do subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. I've got people waiting in the background. There are a couple of people that haven't put their camera on. If you don't put your camera on, I'm not letting you on the screen. All right. The reason being is some of these I might want to clip and put out as little videos. So if I do, I can't have the background blank. So don't say you haven't been warned that they might not go as videos. But listen, he's back. He's back again. It's the ungrateful Manchester City fans. Here they are in their dressing gowns. Love it. How are you, Ralph?
Talk about that, though. I'm good. What about you?
Very well, thank you. Nice New Year. Good New Year.
Yeah, I had a good New Year, and I just reached 1400 on chess.com.
So say that again.
I just reached 1400, so like 1400 elo. So I just reached a new level. Like right now, while you were streaming, I just reached that right now. But
absolutely love it. So you're going upwards. Man City have just won a game. Exciting times again. What do you want to talk about, Alf?
Well, I wanted to talk about your defenders at Tottenham. So
okay.
I can't remember what stream it was, but there was a stream where someone said that Romero is a lot better than Milenkovic, and I saw that and I thought, like, I don't hear this from anyone but Tottenham fans. I think your take is probably pretty similar. I think
agree.
Milenkovic and Romero are similar level. I would probably prefer Milenkovic at Man City because I think he fits Man City better. But to say that Romero is so much better than Milenkovic, I find ridiculous. I find that.
Look, the funny thing is, everyone I speak to who doesn't support Tottenham, no one really rates Christian Romero. But they all say the same thing. I don't know. They all say, yeah, he's okay. Like he's good. He's decent, right? He's a good defender, right?
He's better for Argentina than Spurs.
Sure, but the thing is, it's okay playing for Argentina every now and then, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're asked every 3 or 4 days to show me the quality of your defending. How good are you at the back? For me, he's like this. He's so erratic.
He's inconsistent, isn't he? Like he's also rash at times. There are times where I watch Romero and he just takes red cards or yellow cards or stuff, and I just don't understand why do you even make this challenge? Like sometimes where he absolutely doesn't have to make challenges, that he just flies in. It's very similar to Onyedika, Rafael Onyedika, a really good player. Love watching him, but there are times, especially in transition, doesn't have to make the challenge, just flies in there, gets a red card, and suddenly the team is struggling. I feel like you don't get that as much with Milenkovic, I think he's a lot more disciplined.
Yeah, look, listen, I completely agree with you. Sorry, somebody's just said to me that Spurs could get Cunha for 20 million. I'm like, the world's
You're
gone
not
mad.
getting
Look, I agree. I think the thing for me, Alf, is like with anything, it's consistency.
Yeah.
When I watch Saliba at Arsenal, to use listen, I'll use my, the rivals. When I watch Saliba at Arsenal, Saliba for me always seems to be solid. Now, I'm not saying there's no mistakes ever. Of course there are. But for me, Saliba, you tend to know what you're going to get from him week in, week out. Pretty much the same as Gabriel as well, if I'm going to be brutally honest. I think he's underrated. Even if I watch Newcastle, I watch a player like Sven Botman. I kind of know what I'm going to get from him week in, week out. I could go to even Brighton. I know what Lewis Dunk's going to give me week in, week out. I watch Romero, and there's no middle ground. He's either brilliant or shit. Like there's no 7 out of 10 every week, if you know what I mean. He's either man of the match or he's like a 5. And for me, top defenders don't do that. Top players don't do that in their form.
I agree.
Right there, week in, week out. Right? That's just my opinion.
What I'm going to ask is, do you think he's inconsistent because of something going on in the management, or something in the system maybe doesn't suit him? Or do you think he's inconsistent because he's generally just an inconsistent player? What do you think about that?
Do you know what? I feel like he's been at Spurs for what? Is this his 4th season? I want to say he came in under Nuno.
4.
So he had one with Nuno, then Conte, then one with Nuno, then Conte. Yeah, so one with Nuno and Conte. The second was with Conte. The third with Ange. The fourth with. So he's been here 4 years. And for me, I think he's been up and down the whole time. And every time he doesn't do well, there's an excuse. Like Spurs fans are brilliant with excuses. It's, but it's Conte's tactics. Oh, but it's Ange's tactics. Oh, but it's who he's playing with. Top players will stand out no matter what system they play in. And even if they're playing with poor players. Ledley King of Tottenham was a great example of that. Ledley King played in some terrible Tottenham teams, but always stood out because he was class. He was a Rolls Royce of a defender.
But you also have players like let me take another Club Brugge player here, Antonio Nusa. He's doing really well now at Leipzig. Very consistent for Leipzig. Very consistent for Norway. At Club Brugge, he was also an inconsistent player. Well, he came in, was good initially, but he lost motivation. He lost motivation to play for Club Brugge once he knew he was going to get that transfer. And then he became incredibly inconsistent. So for some players, I think just getting a move away from the club they're at, maybe, well, that's not going to help Tottenham, of course, but for some players, I think getting a move away, maybe finding new motivation, can help a lot with that consistency. I don't know if there's a motivation issue for Romero. He seems passionate, but that can go 2 ways.
Yeah, look, as I said before, look, I just think that lots of clubs, every club has this, right? Every club is very biased towards their own players. And I've never been someone like that. If I think a player's great, I don't care who they play for, I'm saying it. Yeah. And the other day I said I thought Odegaard was class. Someone said, "Oh, he's Arsenal." So what? He's a class footballer. And unfortunately at Tottenham, we're doing this too much now. Every player is going onto this pedestal, and then we've just got excuses. You watch, Romero could play for the next manager, and there'll be an excuse as to why he's erratic then. So, look,
you even do it for loan players.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw recently someone talking about Viskovic, someone who has clearly never watched the Belgian league, talking about Viskovic, and because it was like transfer window, and I was like, first of all, he's staying on loan to Westerlo until the end of the season, so you're not getting him in January. Second of all, he's good, but he's nowhere near the Premier League level, and he's 17. Like, you've got enough teenagers at Tottenham already. So I feel like Tottenham, I don't want to throw shade at Tottenham here. I feel like Tottenham is one of the clubs who does that the most. 130, actually.
Look, I completely agree with you. I mean, look, like with Vuskovic, I keep seeing people posting loads of videos going, "Oh my god, look how many goals he scored." First and
Yeah, but he's not
foremost,
doing that in the Prem.
well, no, of course he's not. But Al, first and foremost, I don't care that my centre back's scoring loads of goals. I want to know how good are you defensively, and second
He's
of all,
decent, but not good enough for the Prem.
he's a kid. But we're doing it again. Look, we had these conversations yesterday about Archie Gray. People, he's generational. Can we let him have a couple of years playing in midfield, dominate? If you're generational, if you're brilliant, you will go into midfield and you will dominate games. The way Steven Gerrard did when he was younger, right? The way
Absolutely.
Declan Rice did for West Ham when he was younger. At the moment, this kid is playing right back, left back, centre back. Let's let him get in centre midfield. Let's give him a year or two to really stand out. And then we can say, what a player we've got. But everyone wants to go, he's amazing. I don't know what they seem to suggest that.
Yeah, they just want him to. I think it's more of a want him to beat than actually thinking that they are. If you get what I'm saying, they want them to beat this play rather than actually thinking that they are that.
Absolutely. There's a difference between what you want and what is true. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people hate my style of YouTube because for me, I don't pander to it. So when I'm hearing things like people are going, "Oh, Jamie Donnelly is on loan at Leyton Orient. He's scored 3 goals in 3 games or whatever. Get him back at Spurs." Okay. But there's a difference between doing it at Leyton Orient in League One and doing it against top players in the Premier League. And look, I just think people get way too excited over absolutely every player, manager, result. It's mad for me, Alf, just for me.
Yeah, what I just want to interject there, for what I said about Vuskovic and some of your other players on loan as well, because I do watch a bit of La Liga, Belgian League. I've seen people talking about Alfie Devine recently. Like all of your loan players, I've seen people talk about, like in the last, I guess, month. I guess it's because it's January now that people are talking about it. Like Alfie Devine, Vuskovic, Brian Hill, those are Tottenham players that I've watched. And Vuskovic, like, let me start with Vuskovic. Give him 6 years, generally. He's way too young. So I think he has potential. He could be the next Van de Ven. He could also be nowhere near that level. He's 17. And what I've seen for players like Brian Hill, I just don't think they'll ever make it in the Prem. Like, just blatantly, I don't think he's ever going to be a Premier League player on the level of that Tottenham aspires to be at. So I think Tottenham fans need to calm down with players that they haven't watched. And the Man City fans do this as well, by the way. Every club does it.
Yeah, every fan base does it. I think the funny thing is, and I will let you go in a second, Alf, but again, Tyler makes, a great point here. I mean, Oliver Skipp went to the Championship with Norwich. If I'm not wrong, someone will tell me if I'm wrong. He won, was he the Norwich Player of the Year or was he Championship Player of the Year?
I think he was Championship Player of the Year.
Championship Player of the Year. But then when you put him in the Premier League, he don't stand out at all. He looked very painfully average. There is a huge difference between that level and this level. But look, Alf, I am going to let you go. I've got a few people queuing up. Tell your man Caesar, you got to calm down a little bit, mate. You got to calm down.
Yeah.
All right.
I told him patience in Dutch.
You're very good. All right. Listen, I'm going to leave it there. Alf, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate you as always. And just so I know, are we still Pep Guardiola out this week?
It's too late now. It's January. It's too late.
If
it's January, I would have said yes if it wasn't January.
Okay, right. So Pep Guardiola gets a stay of execution from Alf. Big up to you, Alf. Take care, mate. I'll see you later. Right, guys and girls. Mark D, you are next up, Mark, but you have not put your camera on. I've asked a few times. If you don't put your camera on, I'm not going to be letting you onto the stream, just so you know. So you need to put the camera on. In the meantime, I'm going to bring on Craig, who is a Newcastle United fan, probably here to gloat about our situation. But Craig, How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Savva. How's yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just sitting here reading all the Spurs stuff and thinking to myself, tomorrow could be a long day.
I had no idea about your sickness, mate. I had no idea till I've just been sitting here listening to the show, so it's news for me. Fabian Shaw's out suspended, if that's any good for you.
Yeah, I saw that. So today I heard that Botman is in the squad, right? But probably won't be fit enough to play. Is that right?
Well, apparently, he's had about 3 games in the under-21s in the past. See, we're not rushing him back. He's had an ACL. He's been out for 7, 8 months now. There's no point rushing him back. So he's had 3 games in the reserves under-21s. But then he had an illness last week, flu or something like that. So he's had like a week off. But he's come back and apparently declared himself fit to play.
Yeah.
So
well, it will be interesting because at the moment we've we're in a bit of a mess. We've got some injuries, as you know, but I don't use injuries as an excuse. Now we're talking about some sort of virus going through the club. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow at all, Craig. Let me ask you, from a Newcastle United fan point of view, are you? You won't offend me, by the way. Are you thinking, yeah, we should rock up at Spurs and be going home with 3 points? Or are you looking at this as a tough game?
Well, the way I see it is over the past, we've had this obviously 5 or 6 game winning streak, right? But before then, we're a bit hitty missy, and a lot of it was down to whether we turned up with the right attitude. Over the last half a dozen games, we've turned up with the right attitude, and we've got the right results. Yeah. So the way you are at the minute, I would say if we turn up with the right attitude, we should win that game. But all that said, Spurs are Spurs. You never know when you're going to get a performance out of Spurs. You know, like we could turn up there in the form of our lives and Spurs could still turn you over. It just, it depends what they're like. Like, it's kind of a funny one because if you'd asked us if we were playing a month ago, I would have had no idea how to call this game because we were both the same. You know, you had no idea what performance you're going to get from either team. But at the minute, I would say the way we've been playing everything like that, I'd be heartbroken if we lose to you. Put it like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I look at Newcastle and you worry me. We don't like teams with pace and power going forward, of which you've got a lot in terms of Anthony Gordon and Murphy with a pace, and Isak for me, I think will bully our centre halves. And then the midfield 3 for me is the one thing I wanted to talk to you about, Craig. For me, I feel like I don't want to say stumbled across it, like in terms of I'm putting him down, but how they've come across that midfield 3 with Tonali back. I think Tonali's an excellent footballer, by the way. I think Gomares is an excellent player. And Joe Linton, we all know what he's done for Joe Linton in the last 2 years. It's a powerful midfield. How would you describe it? How are Newcastle fans feeling about your midfield?
Oh, everyone's raving about them, and rightly so. The thing about Tonali, before going any further, I think what's happened there is, obviously, he's had a year out, which it's all well and good watching games, but it's totally different playing in games. So how's eased them back in, obviously, because he hasn't played in a long time. Don't want to give him a serious injury because his body's not being under the sort of stress it's going to be under Premier League games. Yeah. And he stuck him out in the 8 so that he could sort of get used to the pace of the Premier League itself and know the game. But then he's put him in the 6, I would say, the last half a dozen 7 games. And honestly, he's just unlocked with. It's like a cheat code. We've gone up a level. Bruno's gone forward. And you know what Bruno's like defensively, and Joe Linton are like defensively. But now Bruno G is 20 yards further up the pitch, picking them little passes in behind the defence, this, that, and the other. And he knows that Sandro Tonali's behind him, just mopping up, looking after the back 4 and doing everything he should. And I would argue Tonali's a better midfielder than Bruno Guimaraes, and that'll shock a lot of people.
I really, really like Tonali. I know, obviously, him joining, having the ban, but for me, I when I watch him, he looks like he's got a bit of everything. He looks like he's got a good engine, a decent pass on him. He gets about the park. He'll get the ball down. He'll play. He'll put his foot in. I like midfielders like that, and I think you've got a really good player on your hands. Let me ask you, I was speaking to a Newcastle fan earlier who said to me that the one position that you guys need to strengthen more than any, he said, in his opinion, was the right side of your forward line. So in terms of you got Gordon, you got Isak, and he said, yeah, Murphy's playing well at the moment, but that you need something better there. Is that something you agree with? Is that a bit harsh on the players that are there?
Well, no, like I would sort of agree, but like kind of one of the things is kind of funny because I was talking to an Arsenal fan about this the other day. Like, because everybody wants Isaac, do you know what I mean? Oh, we'll have Isaac, we'll just give you 150 million from blah blah blah. And it's like, why would Isaac leave Newcastle at the minute? If you look at Newcastle's team at the minute, we're only short of a right winger, right-sided centre back to take Shaw's place, like a proper one, and a proper goalkeeper, and we're not far away from like challenging significantly for trophies and stuff like that, because people go, oh, Newcastle aren't that good. Well, hang on a minute. We've got Gordon and Isaac that pretty much everybody wants. We've got Bruno G, who Arsenal want, Man City want, Liverpool want.
Yeah,
you know, like I can go through the team. Everybody wants our players, but nobody actually rates Newcastle as a side, which I find.
As I said, I think Newcastle have a really good team. I think for me, what's lacking at Newcastle is the depth. I do think it's the depth. But your 11 is very good. I really like your 11. I've said this, I'm probably boring people with this, but when I watched you again against Man United in that first 45 minutes, I just thought watching Gordon track, like you did all the nice stuff, but watching Gordon and Murphy track back and cover for Trippier and Hall, watching Hall and Trippier overlapping, I just looked at it and went, Eddie Howe's doing the basics, but bloody well. Do you know what I mean? He's doing them really well. Now, you're not going to win every game.
Football. No.
Yeah, this football's a really simple game.
Yeah. People make it complicated. Like I look at Man City and I'm like, you've got Haaland there, who was arguably the closest thing to like an Alan Shearer old school type centre forward, but you're playing inverted wingers. Where's the wingers banging the crosses in for him? He'd be scoring for fun. He'd be having a field day. And he plays this like, it's weird.
I mean, that's really Pep. Pep's never gonna play without wingers, is he? But look, I think you guys are a good team. I'm worried about playing you tomorrow. I think Gordon and Hall down the left-hand side will have an absolute field day against Porro, who can't defend. I think you're going to have a field day against him. I do worry. Listen, before I let you go, Craig, give me a score prediction. We've already had a 3-1 to Newcastle. What do you think?
Well, you know what? I'm pretty rubbish at the score predictions, because pretty much every game for the last 5 or 6 I've been saying would like 2-1 or like, you know, just get by. And we've only conceded 1 goal in 6 games. But I don't expect to keep a clean sheet against you, because I like the way you play. Obviously, you stay wide open, but you are dangerous up front. So I'm going to go for 2-1 in Newcastle.
2-1 to Newcastle. I think it's going to be 2-1 to Newcastle as well, unfortunately. Just too much going wrong at the football club at the moment. But listen, Craig, I would say best of luck. I will say best of luck because I'm not that guy.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Like, I'm not saying this is going to happen, so before everyone in the chat starts shouting he's deluded, if Newcastle came to Spurs and it was another similar result as the Liverpool game where we beat you by 3 goals, 4 goals or something like that, would that be enough to turn people on hands, you think? Or would he be out? Or
Craig, I don't think so. I've never seen a manager have so much love towards him for doing absolutely nothing. We've had managers before. That have been 10 times this manager, and people were like, "Oh, we've lost 3 or 4 games. Let's get him out." This guy doesn't matter it doesn't matter how many times he loses. It doesn't matter how many we concede. It doesn't. Nothing matters. There are half the fan base idolize him. It's weird.
Is that because of his personality, like all right, mate, and all this sort of stuff, or do you no idea?
I mean, it could be. For me, I don't think he's very likable at all. I think he's really rude in his press conferences. I think he chats an awful lot of waffle in his press conferences. He never takes ownership. He never turns around and says, "Do you know what? Yeah, listen, I should have made subs," or "Yeah, I set them out wrong." It's always, but the players are giving all they can. It's like, "Oh, shut up, Ange." Like, dude, like he isn't for me, Craig.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen,
Oh,
I've
yeah, I
supported
understand.
Spurs 40
Wouldn't be for me.
years, and this is one of the worst I've seen.
Yeah, he wouldn't be for me either, mate. Wouldn't be for me. He's like he's like a version of Steve Bruce who can win the occasional game well.
Yeah, the problem is every time we win a game, when we do win a game, we win like 3-0 or 4-0. So that then makes everyone start going, oh, Ange Ball. Yeah, forget the 5 defeats in the last 7 games. Ange Ball, it's not for me, mate. It's not sustainable. Craig, I'm going to let you go. I've got a few people lining up. Thank you very much, and enjoy the game tomorrow.
Soon. I'll try. You too.
Later. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Guys and girls, we are 1 subscriber away from 15.2k. So the 0.2 means something to me, not really to you guys. So if anyone hasn't, please do subscribe. And on the likes front, we've only got 137. And there's nearly 400 of you in here. So please do smash that button. Oh, look, we've got some Arsenal fans. We've got, here he is. How you doing, bro?
I'm not laughing. I'm surviving, man, because, Brentford was a weird one, but I want to speak about Ange. Sorry about that. I kind of wanted to. I've not really spoken about Ange on your show, and to me, he makes no sense. Because let's take this season for example. You've beaten Man City twice. You've beaten Man United twice. Yet you guys have lost to Ipswich and Crystal Palace. Like, how does that work? You guys don't make sense. Like, you're the definition of bipolar.
I think the difficulty is, I think that I hate the term Ange Ball, but I think this style of play relies on teams playing against us. If teams come out and want to go toe to toe, we love that, right? We love exploiting spaces in behind. I think when teams shut up shop, when teams are solid at the back, i.e., look, when we played Ipswich, they played 3 at the back, 3 centre halves and 3 centre mids in front of them. When we played Palace, they played 3 centre halves and 2 centre mids in front of them, right? When we played you lot went defensive in that game. I'm not knocking it, but it was the best way to beat Spurs. Sit in, counter attack. Spurs, these tactics don't lend themselves to breaking teams down, right? When Villa came out against us, right? When West Ham came out against us, Man City, we will go forward and score goals. But for me, any good coach knows now how to snuff Spurs out.
Because I've been pretty vocal about my critiques of Arteta, but when he's adjusted to certain teams, that's when he's been at his best. When he parked the bus against Spurs, it works really well. How he handled Man City, it nearly worked, but the point still stands. You guys are the most predictable team in the country. Everybody knows what you're going to do. You guys are more predictable than us, and everyone knows we're relying on corners right now. But the thing is, I understand why you want Ange sacks, because the form has been horrific. I don't exactly know the numbers, but it's nasty. But when I look at your... But the thing is, when I look at your team, they're not that good either. So, on one hand, yes, Ange sucks, but also the players aren't really there for him, and the board absolutely hung him out to dry in some regards.
Yeah, but the thing is, you've got better managers with worse squads doing better than Ange. Why? Why are they doing better with lesser squads than Ange's? Could it be because they're good coaches? They put players in the right position. They don't ruin their hamstrings every 30 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Like the problem is we keep talking about the players. This squad at the beginning of the year, most Spurs fans were sitting there going, oh, I think we're going to finish 3rd or finish 4th. Now all of a sudden it's, the players aren't good enough.
I didn't think you lot would get Europe at the start of the season, so it turned out I was right.
Well, look, there's a long way to go. I mean, for me, I think the season could be saved if you bring in a proper manager. I think the season could be saved if we bring in a manager that's got some tactical nous. Somebody that says, right, who are we playing this weekend? Okay, we're playing against Newcastle. Right, what do we need to do? Well, straight away, we need somebody to sit on Alexander Isak, right? Second of all, Anthony Gordon is their danger man. We need to double up on him. What we will do is we will leave Anthony Gordon all the space in the world on the left-hand side, whilst Porro, our right back, inverts into midfield. So for me, I need a manager that's got some level of game management. You know, somebody summed it up brilliantly to me today. Somebody said, this manager plays perfectly into the strengths of our opponents, but plays into the weaknesses of our own players.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it, because if everyone's fit and available, you guys should play three at the back, because Porro and Adobe are not fullbacks, they're wingbacks. It's where Porro shined at Sporting. It's why Adobe was higher rated in Serie A. You guys, those two are not fullbacks. Every time they are played in a four, you guys don't look that stable. And when we went to your stadium towards the end of last season, we were tearing through you guys on the counter attack, even though you had most of the ball, because we just looked at your defenders and thought, you guys aren't going to be able to lock us up. So you can throw what you want at us, but we know when we attack, we can hurt. So yes, Ange is holding himself back because he's stubborn as hell. But look, I also kind of get what he's doing. I don't know
whether he's good enough to adapt. I mean, I think we're saying he's stubborn. I don't think he knows how else to play. I don't think that he's got the capability to turn around and go, right, guys, today we're not going to go all out attack. Today we're going to first 20 minutes sit in. Yeah, first 20 minutes, just hold your shape. Nothing stupid. Don't let them get in behind you. He can't do it. He's not capable of doing it.
I don't think he can't do it. I think he won't do it, because the way I think he looks at that team is because he doesn't wrinkle defense. So he's essentially saying, we're just going to outshoot you. That would work if you had a competent attack, but you guys going forward, that's probably your weakest area.
Yeah, but I don't agree. I feel like he's got the players there to make us solid at the back, though. Like, if you put Dragasing, Van der Ven and Romero as a back three and had Porro and Adogi as wing backs, suddenly everyone's in their correct position and we've got bodies at the back. No one's inverting and we look solid. What this guy does is he's got two fullbacks that aren't really fullbacks. He's inverting them into midfield to basically play number 10. The two centre mids then drift out wide to collect the ball. So when teams counter-attack us, they go through the middle of the pitch. There's no one there. There's nothing there to break down.
Yeah, just saying, after Newcastle, you're going to the Emirates.
Yeah, listen, I know I'm not looking forward to it at all. But look, dude, I've got a few people waiting, so I'm gonna let you go. But listen, Arsenal, you've got Brighton, is that right, this weekend?
Away, and Timber suspended, so I'm not looking forward to Partey at right back again.
Partey against Matoma. Should be interesting. They tend to raise their game, Brighton, don't they, for the bigger clubs? So we'll see. But listen, I'll catch up with you next week, all right?
One more thing. Can I make a quick prediction for the Tottenham Newcastle game?
Yeah, go on.
I think it's going to be 4-2 Newcastle, because you guys are going to score, but Porro against Gordon's going to be an absolute massacre.
Yeah,
and you are Anfield. Enjoy.
Yeah, thanks for that. Listen, enjoy the football this weekend. I'll speak to you soon, mate.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye. Big up to everybody. I'm going to bring on, next up is Why, which is a lovely name. I'm sure he was christened that. And then Lily White Lane Rob is on after that. And then Caesar has come back in again. Caesar, if you want to talk to me, please, can we talk about something other than Club Bruges? Because I'll be honest, I'm not being horrible, but I'm not really sure that 400 people in here really know a lot about Club Bruges or what to discuss about them. It makes it quite difficult. But I'll see you in a second, all right? Big up to Why? Is that your real name?
Hi. No, that's not my real name, unfortunately.
No,
hi, I'm actually Josh.
You're so Ashley?
I do have a YouTube channel. No, Josh.
Sorry, what? Josh? Your name's Josh. Okay, Josh. Who do you support, Josh?
Tottenham.
You're a Tottenham fan, okay?
Tottenham.
What is it that you want to talk about?
Like how the season going is so crap. Like, is Kulusevski actually from last season? Like when he played on the right wing, he's terrible. This season, he's very good and needs to get sacked.
Okay, so basically, you think the season's been poor. Kulusevski is good
Yeah.
this year, wasn't good last year, and you think that Ange Postecoglou needs to be sacked from the club. Is that right?
Yeah, because of what I've been watching it's just slow passes from the back. It's not really his style. Do not fit the club
Mhm.
because from all the injuries, from the illness, unfortunately. Do we know like some people coming from loan?
Well, let's talk about then. Do you think that we're going to get any players in on loan? The transfer window's open. It's been open 3 days. I wouldn't expect Spurs to do anything in 3 days. But are you expecting us to bring in many players this window?
Maybe like one loan player. Like we need more like I do my research on a lot of football. I do watch a lot of football. I'm a bit worried about the Newcastle game, to be honest. Because
Okay.
with
Why are you
Isak,
worried about Newcastle?
because they just what I watched since Man U, to be honest, they should score more goals than 2 goals, to be honest. They patted them in midfield. Man U
Yep.
got patted in midfield. I noticed in the Man U game, their goalkeeper, not Pope, the other one, he's very under pressure. He's very not liable passes in the passing in the pack line. I
Yeah, you're
noticed
talking
that.
about Dubravka, the Newcastle sub goalkeeper.
he
Yep,
looks-
yep.
If we press him very high, I think he will make mistakes. That's why I think with like Madison, I think he's not been good this season from like in like 10 goals, but still he's stepping us. And I think with all injuries, I just bit very worried about the Newcastle game because they're good players. Gordon will smashed Paro, and Spence just like he's a bit too reckless in the Forest game. Got the red card. It will be a very heated game, and I think Newcastle will destroy us. They'll be licking their lips seeing our pack line.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be interesting. I mean, look, at some point, Spurs have to win a game. At some point,
Yeah.
we've been in such bad form. At some stage, we're going to win a game. I don't think it will be tomorrow,
No.
but with this Tottenham team, you just never know. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it clicks. Then you have 3 or 4 games where nothing works.
No.
I guess the question I'll ask you is this: is if Newcastle do beat Tottenham tomorrow, Tottenham could end the weekend. I'm just looking at the table. We could end the weekend in 14th, or we could end the weekend in 10th. If we end the weekend in 14th, would you sack Postecoglou at the end of this weekend?
Mate, I got 5 words of it. He's a clown. He needs to go do their circus with their left back from like few seasons ago. And I think if he goes 14th place, only reason he's in the job really is because he is in the semi-final of the cup. That's really why he's really in the cup. I think that's why
I agree with. I agree with you. I think if it wasn't for this cup semi-final, I think he would have gone a long time ago.
Mate, he went. Be honest, he should end when the Arsenal and the Liverpool game 6-2. That's in.
Look, Josh, I've not wanted him at this club for a year, so I agree with you. He's not for me. I think he's tactically terrible. I think fans that care about Tottenham and that want to get better don't really want this manager in.
No.
It seems to be the cool thing, though, to say, I'm backing this manager. And I don't know what they're backing. But look, Josh, I am going to leave it there if that's all right, because I've got a few more people to bring on. Thank you very much. Give me a score prediction. Tottenham v Newcastle tomorrow.
8-1 to Newcastle.
No, you don't think it's going to be 8-1.
It's just like Isak. He'd be, and who we even have in the back line because of the illness and stuff.
I know, but you truly believe Newcastle were going to come to White Hart Lane and score 8 goals?
I don't want that to happen. I do not want that to happen. But get realistic. I can't just what I watched against Man U. Like maybe like 3-1, maybe actually, 3-1.
3-1 to Newcastle. Okay, that seems a little bit more sensible. But listen, Josh, enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy the game tomorrow. And I'll speak to you soon.
I will be on your channel soon.
Take care, buddy. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye.
See you later, mate. Bye-bye. Right, I'm going to bring on Rob Lily White Lane in just 1 second. I'm going to ask guys and girls, smash the like button. For the love of God, come on, people. For the football gods, 154 likes, 352 people in here. And thank you very much. Look, I always do that, nearly show you my revenue. 15,200. Thank you very much. It's taken us a week to get 200 subs. So thank you very much to everybody that has supported and liked the channel. Really, really do appreciate you. 8-1. I mean, Rob, my friend, I haven't seen you for a while, but we have streamed together before, haven't we?
I believe so. Yeah, we've been on streams together. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I can. Welcome to you and Happy New Year.
You too, mate. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Listen, I'm at the stage as a Spurs fan now where I'm just kind of like, yeah. You know, like I know lots of people find it strange when we lose games. I'm like, yeah, this is Spurs. But Rob, talk to me. Tottenham, or I'm guessing Spurs is what you want to talk about. What do you want to say?
Yeah. I was expecting to have a chat about Real Madrid, to be honest, Savva, but no, we'll talk about Spurs. I think, I'm not looking forward.
Let's go and support Real Madrid. I think we might win some more trophies.
Get a bit more joy over there, but I think tomorrow's going to be bad, mate. I really, really do. I don't think 8 like the guy before. I mean, bloody hell. But I do think potentially 4 or 5. We might score 2 or 3 that allows some of our fans to say we were entertaining. But I'm just thinking Gordon running down that left-hand side. And people are saying, Gordon versus Porro. Well, Porro's not even going to be down that right-hand side. He's going to be in the midfield because Ange's going to invert him. He's going to have all the space in the world. You've got Isak attacking our depleted back line. I just can't see anything other than a loss unless we score like 5 or 6 goals, which I just don't see happening tomorrow. I think it's going to be such a tough watch, to be honest. I'm contemplating watching it for the first time in years. I genuinely just feel, what's the point? Because it's like we're just such a shambles of a club at the moment.
Do you know what? Listen, look, I think the common sense Savva says I can't disagree with anything you said. It's that 5% of hope that goes, can we win? And this is bad. This is bad that we're in a position now where Newcastle are a good team, right? But Newcastle aren't one of the biggest teams in the country. Like in terms of, this isn't like we're entertaining a really top team. No offense to any Newcastle fans. I think you're good. I've said that a lot. But the fact that we're all sitting here going, cool, this could be bad. Look, I'll be honest, I'd take a draw. If you offered me a draw right now, I'd take it. But you're right. I want to pick up on a point you just made there. Pedro Porro. And again, this is through no fault of his own, you would suggest. But again, Anthony Gordon tomorrow, we know what Anthony Gordon wants to do. We know that this guy is going to pick up the ball, whether he's in his own half, the opposition half, and he's going to run, right? He's going to run with the ball. And what worries me is Porro, like you said, he's never actually in the right back area, is he? He's in centre mid. And what we'll be relying on is either Basuma or Sarr to constantly have to come over and double up. In general, do you think that's a massive issue that could have easily been rectified months and months and months ago with this tactic?
It's a huge one. I mean, I don't think Porro's as great as some of our fans make him out to be. If I'm honest, I don't think he's that solid defensively. But I do think he's at his best when he's playing that wing-back role, bombing forward on that right-hand side, and he's there to cover defensively. We just give the opposition, for me, so much space on that left-hand side. And same on the right-hand side. You look at a lot of goals that we've conceded this season. and last season, to be honest, they come from wide areas because teams have just got so much space. And I'm thinking about other duels tomorrow as well. Someone like Joe Linton. Who have we, got at the back line? Archie Gray, young. Is he going to be, able to deal with that physicality? People in the midfield as well. I just think the matchups tomorrow really, really ain't looking good for us, in all honesty. And if we lose, I'm going to be honest with you, I want it to be bad. I don't want it to be a 4-3 where we're 4-0 down and we come back a bit, because then you'll get Spurs fans saying we were entertaining and we showed a bit of fight. It's like that Liverpool game when everyone after was going, well, at least I was entertained. It feels like Spurs fans are almost latching on to what opposition fans are saying when they say Spurs are entertaining, because they're watching us lose every week as well as score 2 or 3 goals. I thought after that game we were scoring goals, but we were out of the game, so what? We could easily go 4-0 down, and I hope if we do, it stays that way, so there's more chance of this guy going for the long-term future of the club. Because at the minute, I get a few goals back. Oh, we showed a bit of fight, but are we going in the right direction? What are we keeping him round for? The cup against Liverpool, we just lost 6-3 to them, and we've got Anfield in the second leg. I don't see us going in the right direction. I don't see where the next points are going to come from.
Do you know what? I think it's such a shame that as fans, we're now at the stage where, where we're wanting these things, right? I think it's such a shame where we've been sort of backed into a corner so much where, look, to your point, we're 5-1 down against Liverpool, and Liverpool just stopped playing. You see, Liverpool were 5-1 up and just took their foot off the gas. We scored a couple, and then they were, no, let's go again. We'll try and start scoring again. And our fans were singing his name at 5-1 down, right? And then after the game, people are going, we were courageous. Whoa. Whoa. We've just conceded 6 goals at White Hart Lane. We just conceded 6 goals. And we want to talk about being courageous. But again, Robbie, that game, you're sitting there going, right, you're 3-1 down at half time. Stop the flow. And stop the flow. Do you know what? Grind out a 0-0 in the second half and go home with your tail between your legs. Nope. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. And then we go 4 down, 5 down. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. This is what I can't get with him, Robbie. All these fans that like him, whenever I ask, what do you like about him? No one can actually give me sensible answers other than I'm Spurs, I back the manager. What does that mean? What
I'm diehards, you're not.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, yeah.
I'm a better fan than you, Robbie, because you know what? I just blindly back. No, right? I think fans that want the club to do better are looking at this manager and going, this is shit. Let's be brutally honest. This is shit. We might win tomorrow. People will go, Savva's in the mud. But, for me, I look, who do you want? Who would you want if he was to be sacked?
Personal choice would be Thomas Frank. I think he's done really well with Brentford. Premier League proven, knows how to do it in this league, can adapt tactically and get the most out of his team. And I see you make this point a lot, and I really agree with it. I've said it a few times on my own shows and stuff, Have we got title-winning players? No. Have we got title contending players? No. But have we got better players than the likes of Brighton, the likes of Brentford, the likes of Fulham? These teams who are above us, yeah. But the reason we're not is because they're better managed than us. And their managers, for me, Thomas Frank, Marco Silva, Iraola, they're getting more out of their players and playing to their strengths. We're not. We're just, whatever players we've got, play the exact same way week in, week out. If you're a manager coming up against Spurs now, for me, Iraola did it, Nuno did it. We're going to sit in, we're going to play narrow because they're constantly trying to, cheeky little passes through the middle. I'm going to catch them out with pace on the counter with quick wingers because they leave space wide. Teams who have done that have picked up wins against us this season. It's as simple as that. Occasionally you'll get a 4 or 5-0 that allows some fans to get behind this guy. But you said it a minute ago. I don't get why this is the guy that so many people are banking on. I gave him the benefit of the doubt in the first season. I said, it's not looking good. The first season, see what happens in the summer. And then he says every signing's his. He got back more than other 2 managers before him, and he's done a far worse job. And I think for a lot of fans, it's just they're sick of seeing managers sacked. So this is the one they've decided to go, we can't, keep on sacking managers. Not because, for me, it's Ange Postecoglou is going to take us forward. It's just we can't sack another manager because I just don't see where we're going with this guy. I think we're better off going in for someone like a Thomas Frank.
Do you know what makes me laugh, Robbie? And by the way, I agree with everything you just said there, my man. I love this notion of, well, sacking managers has worked in the past. Like people being sarcastic, saying, oh, well, that worked. Or, oh, I don't want him sacked because I don't want to start again. First and foremost, Robbie, I don't know any club that talks about starting again every time they change manager. Just because you bring a new man in doesn't mean you have to go, oh, right, all these 25 players, see you later. We're going to get 25 new ones in the next 2 years. A good manager will come in here and go, right, what have I got to work with? What have I truly believe if Iriola, Frank, Silva, by the way, I'm not talking Jose's here or Conte's or Ancelotti's. I'm talking about good, honest managers that do a good day's graft and will work their backside off to make their teams better than probably what their caliber is, with all due respect to those clubs. I want a manager that comes in and goes, right, what have I got here? Okay, cool. I've got 2 really good wing backs, right? I've got 2 really good wing backs in Porro and Udogie. Why am I going to play them as right back and left back, inverting into the number 10? I'm not. I'm going to go wing backs. I've got centre backs that can defend them by the way, have all played in a free. I never call him Radu. Dragoshin, Romero, and Van der Ven, all in their previous clubs have played in a back 3 before. You've got James Maddison that would allow him to go into the centre-back position, into the attacking midfield position. Tell you what, I don't know why I'm sure you've seen me bring this up before, but this is the easiest way for me to show this. Again, look, I know what people are doing is go, oh, where's Kulu? Where's this? This was before the season. Just the shape. Forget who you prefer in what position. Everyone's in their position. Everyone's actually in a position that they are comfortable with. You've got Van der Ven who can play left back or left centre half in the left side of a free. Radu Dragoshin who can be your main guy that doesn't bring the ball out. He's the guy that you say, right, head everything. Yeah, we want you to be the main man that puts his head in everything. Romero and Van der Ven can bring it out. Porro and Udogie are offering the width. Basuma and Bentancur doing their number 8 jobs, right? Maddison actually in space with 2 forwards to look for, plus the overlapping Porro and Udogie. And then you've got Son. It brings him in from the left-hand side into the middle where he'll be more effective playing off of Solanke. We know what he can't do as a number 9, but let Solanke drop deep and let Son be played in. And when I look at that, I just think, by the way, Robbie, it doesn't have to be wing backs, but I just want a manager that comes in like a Frank and says, right, let's mix this up. And you know what else I love about
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you know what else I love about Frank? I've seen him go from a back 4 to a back 5 fluidly this season. He will adapt. And somebody said to me yesterday, but we're above them in the league. And I'm like, yeah, we bloody well should be. We should be above Brentford. This shouldn't be our, do you know what I mean, Robbie? Shouldn't be our
I
kind of
completely
level.
agree with you. I completely agree. It's the same with Bournemouth as well, though. They've lost Solanke. Brentford have lost Ivan Toney. And they're in and around us. And people call Spurs fans to expect a bit more and to be above these clubs entitled. It's like, come on. These managers don't have better squads. They don't have better players. But they're playing to their player strength. You just brought that up. That's the best way, in my opinion, as well, that we can play to our player strengths. With wing backs, with Heung-min Son running off, Solanke sort of being that target forward, Maddison given space. I believe he's being let down by this manager now. That's what the likes of Iriola, Frank, Marco Silva, probably third out of the 3 for choices for me. But still, he plays the players to the best of their ability and puts them in their best positions. And then if the players cock up, it's on them. But I think some players work in this system, like Kulusevski, I think works in this system. I do. But then you're looking at players like Maddison, you're looking at players like, I'm not really a big fan of him, but Dragusin, the wing backs, I just don't get why. Like Udogie, Porro, before they joined Spurs, they were playing as wing backs, bombing forward in wide areas and defending in wide areas. They're in the middle of the pitch far more at the minute. I just think the players are being completely mismanaged. They're better than what the manager's getting out of them. And he's being backed more than others by fans and by the owners, to be fair. And I just don't get why. Because we're entertaining again, I think that's a label that's been put on us by opposition fans. You see Carragher and Neville's going, Spurs are fantastic to watch, and Spurs fans are going, yeah, you know, getting behind it. It's like, he's in his second season. He's had 300 million spent on him, and we're mid-table. But because we win a game 3 or 4-0 every 2 months, we're entertaining and on the right track. I don't get it. It's mad.
Absolutely. And look, just before I let you go, look, I mean, look, when we look at this league table, Robbie, look, Nottingham Forest, for me, that's the complete anomaly, right? I mean, they're having a blinder, fair play to them, right? So I'm not going to really talk about them. But if we look at Bournemouth, Fulham, right, Brighton, Brentford, like, you think we've got no more points than any of them. The only one we're above is Brentford, and that's purely on goal difference. We should be, for me, we should be where Newcastle are. If we're going to be brutally honest, we should be where Newcastle are. And bearing in mind, this is a Newcastle team that weren't playing great. And Eddie Howe made some tweaks, changed a few things, 4 wins on the spin. I can't see this manager ever having 4 wins on the spin. I can't see it, Robbie, because too many teams will go, we know how to play against you. But fans keep saying, give him better players. I'll ask you this question before I let you go, Robbie. For all the people that say, give him better players, do you still think we'd be massively wide open, even if he had much better players?
I think the only players that work with Ange, and the only way Ange would work at any club, is if he has the best players in the league. That's why he did it at Celtic. They had an injury crisis there, but I mean, look, I don't want to be patronising towards the Scottish League or disrespectful, but it is a league really with 2 teams and maybe 2 or 3 can put up a good fight in a game. But of course he was going to win there. Celtic have a squad worth literally 50 times more than 6 of the other teams in that league for me. So he had the best players. That's why he succeeded. If he doesn't have the best players playing this system, it's not going to work. And even then, I don't think he'd win the league. You know, if he had Man City's squad, Liverpool's squad, I don't think he'd win the league because he wouldn't make those little tweaks like a Pep or Klopp over the last few years have, or Slot, to, you know, win those games. So I just think, again, are these players title contending or winning players? No, not for me at all. I think fans pick them up way more than they should be, you know. But are they? I agree. And it's funny as well that these fans who big them up and say these players are quality then go on to say that Ange needs better players. But anyway, these players for me, they are not title contending players, but they're at least top 4 contending players. And like you say, they're better players than the teams above us with the players. We just don't play to their strengths for me.
Billy, sorry, Robbie, absolutely, mate. I've not once said Spurs should 100% be 4th, but you know what? We should be up and around. We should be sitting here saying, 4, we need them to lose this weekend so we can go 1 point off 4th, or so we can go into 4th. And do you know what I mean? We should be, you know, vying in there. But I mean, Robbie, we're 11 points. Let me show that again. We're 11 points off of top 4, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Look, and then if you scroll as well, West Ham have had a terrible season right behind us.
Absolutely, it shows how bad we've been, and the fact that we've lost 9 games as well is absolutely embarrassing. And then if we scroll to the bottom, you look there. We're 9 points off the bottom 3, and 11 points off the top 4. I just don't know how much worse it needs to get, Robbie, before lots wake up. Listen, Robbie, I'm going to let you go, man. Listen, thoroughly enjoyed the chat. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'll always please join my show. You're always welcome, my man. All right.
100%. Cheers, Savva. Have a good evening, mate. All the best.
And you, mate. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye. Big up to everyone. Right, I'm going to get Angus on next because everyone loves we all need a bit of Angus in our life, don't we? We really do. He's probably about to tell me how they're going to buy Mbappe and Haaland and somebody else that live at Arsenal. So there is somebody waiting to come on called Charlton. There is no camera on. If you don't put your camera on in the next 2 minutes, I will just kick you from the back stream, I'm afraid. Only people with their cameras. And then after that, I've got Philly 2109, my brother from another mother. Guys, girls, listen, it's in my, if you go to the bio of my channel, if you actually go to my YouTube channel, not here, go to my YouTube channel and then open the link It tells you all about my channel. At the bottom, there is an email address there, mate. Feel free to just ping it over. Angus, before I bring you on, I just want to say too, I've never agreed and disagreed with someone within the space of 10 seconds before, but Philly, my man, one of the Phils, completely agree. We need a Redknapp to stabilize us back to basics. Absolutely, Phil. Completely agree with you. Glad that you came round to our way of thinking in the end. But then when you said Thomas Frank, no thanks. Why? Why would we not want a tactical manager? Why? I think he's a really good motivator of men as well. I think he's everything that we need. But Angus.
Hello, buddy.
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I've just recovered my hangover, so I'm better, thank you.
Angus, I've not had a hangover for 175 days, so I don't
Good on you,
envy
bud.
you.
Good on you,
Each
bud.
to their own. Angus, talk to me. What I'm guessing you want to talk about them lot down the road.
Yes.
Go for it.
Have you seen the news coming out today?
Is this to do with agreed personal terms with Cunha?
Yeah.
Is this reliable information? Where is this coming from?
It's all over Twitter. It's all over Twitter. Like from
true. It must be true.
I don't know the journal. I don't know where it's from, but I know it's from like a reliable source, and people are saying it. Like big people like Ben Jacobs and all that as well are saying it.
So I've got here 1 hour ago in the Daily Mail, it says Wolves are working on a new deal for Matheus Cunha amid Arsenal interest. Football Insider have said Arsenal ready for Matheus Cunha's swoop. The Metro are, listen, to be fair, a lot of people are reporting it. I'll give it to you. I will hate Arsenal even more if we get Matheus Cunha. I think he's a fantastic footballer. And you know what? When he played against us last week, what I was surprised about with him is his ability to just pop up anywhere. Like he would drop into centre mid, he would be on the wing, he'd be up front. He's happy to have the ball. He beats men like they're not there. He almost reminded me of a bit more of an attacking version of a Moussa Dembele, just in terms of the way he glided past players. I'm guessing you want him, right?
100 million%.
Yeah.
He's a better version than Gabriel Jesus.
Oh, he's much better than Gabriel Jesus, yeah.
So, and that's the reason why I want him.
Yeah, absolutely. Just really, really quickly. Sorry, Alex. Again, Alex. I don't think sometimes people listen. Listen, when I said saying it's fourth, what I said was we should be in the conversation. We should at least be fourth, fifth, sixth, vying for that fourth position. I did say we've got no God-given right to be fourth, but we should be fighting for it at least. That's what I said. Angus, if you get Matheus Cunha, where are you playing him? Where do you see him fitting in?
And forward areas, obviously, but I don't know whereabouts. I think maybe striker or left wing.
Okay. And do you think, here's a question for you, is he the difference between winning a title or not? And I want you to answer that thinking about the fact that you are quite far behind. I know we are, but you are quite far behind Liverpool. What is it? 6 points with a game in hand to them. So is the title gone? Can Cunha be the catalyst to get that title challenge back on track?
We need that striker. We definitely need that striker.
Okay.
And we need more squad depth as well, because our squad depth isn't that good.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, Angus. About a month ago, you came on here. Everyone heard you. Everyone saw you. Arteta out.
I know what you're going to say. I know you're going to say.
Go. Where are you now? Are you like the Man City fans that want to get rid of Pep?
He has to win a trophy this season. He has to win something this season, or else he has to go.
So let me ask you a question. Let's say you finish second in the league. Let's say you make a couple of finals, or you make the final of the League Cup, final of the FA Cup, but you don't actually win one. Does he still go?
Yep.
Okay. Right. So you want the Arsenal board to be ruthless. You didn't win. Thank you very much. See you later.
Thank you for your service. Bye bye.
Okay, give me 3 people you want to replace him.
The guy I wanted most was Ruben Amorim.
Okay. I hate to break it to you. Not happening.
I know. I know. I know. I take Michael from Girona,
From Girona. Yep.
which is the Spanish way of saying that. Trying to think. Inzaghi, maybe?
Okay. Simone Inzaghi. Yep. Of Inter Milan. Big
I'm
up,
trying
Chloe.
to think of, and then maybe the Brighton manager. I'd take him.
Okay.
He looks
Hurtsela.
decent.
So let me ask you a question then. Listen, I really like Hurtsela. I think. Listen, what is he, about 12 or something? He's really young, isn't he? He's so young. He's. I know he's not 12. Look, at his stage in his career, is he? Look, because what I'm hearing from Arsenal fans, listen, I listen a lot to like to Lee Gunner, big up to Lee, and I hear Arsenal fans talk about it. Is the next guy who comes in? You guys are saying right now, finishing second, that's not enough. Right? It's got to be that jump. Is Hurtsela so far in his career that guy that takes you from also Rans to champions? Because it's only a one place jump, but it's a big jump.
The only guy I could think who maybe could do it is Inzaghi, because he's got the winning mentality.
What about Simeone?
I don't want that type of football.
What type of football is this myth again that Atletico Madrid don't play any sort of football other than being defensive?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. If you watch Atletico Madrid though, what Simeone can do is mix it up. He can go from a 4 at the back, go 3 at the back. He'll go 1 up front, 2 up front, 2 in midfield, 3 in midfield. On their day, they're very good to watch, but you know what they are? They're bloody hard to beat. They're always bloody hard to beat. So you wouldn't want Simeone?
I don't know. I just want someone who can win me the bloody Champions League and Premier League. That is all I want.
I love it. What I love is that you're so sure you want the manager gone, but when I asked for 3 alternatives, it was, I'm not sure. You should know. You should be like, we need boom, boom, boom. I want Ancelotti. I want, surely it should be nature. But listen, I think Simone Inzaghi, good manager. Inter Milan, bloody good team. Another team. Listen, you'll see a theme with me. I love managers that make their teams well-oiled and well-drilled machines. I don't like all this kind of wide open, go on, have 6 goals, have 28 shots on our goal. I don't like all that. That's not me.
I warned you what Ange was like in the summer.
Angus,
I warned you.
You absolutely did. You did. I'm not going to knock you for that. You did. Every now and then you say some nonsense like Mbappe's joining Arsenal. But every now and then you come out with some nuggets, don't you? I'm never letting you live that down. Ever.
You, Scott, everyone is going to live from him forever.
Yeah, everybody, just in case you weren't aware. Angus
thanks,
Savva.
Savva.
Mbappe was going to be joining Arsenal, so we can't ever let him live that one down.
Thanks, Savva. Thanks for that, mate. Appreciate it.
Listen, dude, give me a couple of score predictions before I let you go, because I'm going to bring on Cholton. I hope that is his first name. That would be brilliant if it is. Spurs, Newcastle, first and foremost.
If Newcastle score early, they're going to take you to the sword and destroy you.
Okay.
So maybe like 4-1, I think.
Okay, 4-1 to Newcastle. All right, and Brighton versus Arsenal at the Amex?
Oh, I'll take a 2-0. You need to win.
Just the 2-0. You'll take the 2-0 to Arsenal, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, obviously,
Arsenal 2-0. Okay. Listen, you better hope that Man United do you a favour, right, at the weekend. I can't see it.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
No. But listen,
do you know what as well?
So much for coming on, man.
No problem. No, as well. I really couldn't care less what that score is. I just want Man United to suffer. and suffer and suffer and suffer.
Oh, dearie me. Well, listen, you keep going with that, mate. And listen, I'll speak to you soon, all right?
Do you want to? I can hop on if you want to do a preview of the North London derby if you want.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. Message me, email me.
Will do. Will do.
All right, mate.
All right.
See you later. Take
Peace.
care. Bye
See you
bye.
later. Bye bye.
We have got half an hour of the show left. I'm going to bring on Charlton, followed by Philly. And at the moment, Philly is the last person at the moment in the background. Please do smash the likes if you haven't already. We're on 193. We should be on at least 220, 230 by now. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. It really does mean a lot. And we're currently, hang on. If I go to the right page, we're currently sitting on. Thank you very much. We have got over the 15,200 mark. So thank you very much, everybody. Charlton, you're on mute, by the way. If you press the unmute button before we talk. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. I'm a Tottenham fan, so I've been listening to you going about how much you don't like Ange, but my biggest question to you is, who do you think is going to do a better job with this team than Ange is right now?
You, me, the milkman, my dog. I think he's that bad. He's that bad.
But we're beating teams by a lot, yeah, and the games that we're losing are mainly individual errors.
But they're not. But this is the thing. I hear this a lot. This argument is always the same from people. But when we win, it's big. When we lose, it's only by one and individual errors. We lose because of the tactics. The tactics are absolutely atrocious. Every pundit is saying it now. Every other fan base seems to understand how shit our tactics are, apart from half of our own fan base, which keep coming out of excuses. So let me ask you this. When you say when we win big, how often is that though? Like in the last 3 months, what have we actually done that suggests that's the norm and not an anomaly?
Obviously we beat City, beat Villa,
beat
United.
Okay.
Lines.
But isn't everyone beating United and beating City? Like it's not like it's a great big massive deal, is it? Everyone's been beating them, right?
Yeah, well, people have been beating them, but they haven't been blowing them away.
Okay, right. So because we blew away 10-man Man United, right? We in the game where we battered them, we blew them away. They had 10 men for about 50 minutes or 55 minutes, whatever it was.
Yeah, but
right.
We were worse when they went down to 10 men. We were battering before they went down to 10 men.
Okay, but let me ask this. And is your actual name Charlton? It feels weird
calling
you like it is Charlton. Cool. Just checking. All right. Named after the football club by any chance?
No, named after Bobby Charlton.
Nah, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. No one would want to be named after Charlton Athletic. Look, the way I see it is this. Everybody to their opinion. You've probably seen I'm very opinionated on my Ange thing. But at what point, mate, do we look at the overwhelming evidence and go, God, this is shit? Like we can't keep saying it's individual errors when we're losing a lot of games of football. This has been, if I'm not wrong, wasn't it 21, 22 defeats in the year of 2004? That's not all on individual errors, is it?
No, there needs to come to a point in this season where Ange needs to change his tactics slightly and go a little bit more pragmatic with the way he wants to play. But I think if you look at the way he's played with very much so with his Celtic team, and Celtic play very much so with it now, the same system, same way. The difference is they had Conor McGregor and he had McGregor in the middle, who's used to sniff out all that danger. Now we haven't got that. We've got Basuma, who's basically nowhere near good enough to sniff out danger when it comes. And then on his day, he's brilliant, and Bentancur's not a number 6 either. I think if you put
Ange doesn't play with a number 6. But Ange doesn't. But the thing is, Charlton, this is my issue. The guy's had 16 new signings since he's been at this football club, right? Why has he not bought a number 6? If that is the benchmark, if people are going to use this as the excuse, why has he not gone right with the free? What has he spent? 356 million, something like that. Why was not 40 million of that on a defensive midfielder? Why has he just bought wingers upon wingers upon wingers upon wingers upon? Why has he not addressed that?
Do you not believe that he did buy one this summer? He hasn't used him in his correct position, but Archie Gray will be our defensive midfielder.
But again, Charlton, if you're buying players, first of all, the kid's 18, right?
Yeah,
Second of all, huh?
Yeah, he's 18, but when we moan about there's no future planning of this football club, I think they brought someone in knowing this is time to buy him. If we left it a year later, he wouldn't come here. He'd go City, he'd go somewhere else, because I believe that's how good he is. Like when you watch him play different positions, like right back, left back, centre back, yeah, he's not being the best, but there's a lot of exposure on positioning and all those things that when he goes into the midfield, he's going to have a better defensive knowledge, he's going to have better tackling, better marking. So it's going to all benefit him when he goes back into midfield, because he's got.
So let me ask you this. So, okay, so let's break down what you've just said here. You've kind of made my point for me. You said we don't have a number 6. We've bought a number 6, but we play him everywhere but number 6. If he was the number 6 that's been bought, why is he not playing in midfield in number 6 and we're letting somebody else do the right back, centre back thing? Why?
Because right now he's not ready as an 18-year-old to play centre midfield for a top 6 football club.
Right. So this is my point. When I asked you, why has Ange not spent any of that 350 million on a defensive midfielder, you said he has. My point is, if you have and he's not ready, I'll go back to my original question. Why has Ange not spent any money on a number 6 to play in our first 11?
Because I believe he believed enough in Basuma and Bentancur for this year, and he believes by next year, with the exposure he's going to give him in Europa League and in the Prem this year, that he'll be ready by the end of next year. And okay. I believe next summer, either Bentancur or Basuma will leave the football club, and Archie Gray will be number 6.
Sure. Okay. Let's say I agree with you. I don't, but let's say I agree with you on this Archie Gray thing. I agree with you that one of Bentancur or Basuma will be gone. By the way, I won't care either one which goes. Right? If let's say they go, what about this season? Why on earth did we have a summer window then when we're worried about 2 seasons ahead? Like we could talk about planning at this football club, but Ange might not be here to see this planning. You've got to buy for the first team, Charlton, right? And at the end of the day, he doesn't play with a number 6, right? This is what I don't get, right? When people come on and tell me, oh, this, that, the other tactics, but can you not see that when he plays, our 2 fullbacks end up playing in central midfield, right? Our 2 central midfielders end up going out wide to receive the ball in the positions that are being vacated by Porro and Udogie, right? So then when teams break on us, we've got no midfield to speak of because that's his tactics. How are we not seeing that it's the same tactical errors every game, but people are going, yeah, but every now and then we batter a team? At what stage do you go, you've got to manage properly? At what stage does he have to cut out all of the tactical ineptability? If that's, I think I've just completely made that word up. But what stage does that have to happen?
I think he's tried to change his tactics a little bit this year than compared to last year. Like the fullbacks aren't inverting as early as they did last year. They are staying a bit wider for the build-up phase, and then they're inverting later on. But the issue is when we turn over the ball. Like when we turn over the ball, there's not enough pressure on the person that gets the ball. So then those spaces get.
Why is that? So why is that, Charlton? That's his tactics, right? Everyone bombs forward. Look. Again, this is what makes me laugh. It's like, I understand that people want to back a manager, but are you telling me that these tactics are good? Are you truly telling me that no manager can come in with this squad and go, I'm going to make us hard to beat. I'm going to make us rigid. I'm going to make us compact. I'm going to make us tight. I'm going to make us defend better. I'm going to make us attack as a unit and defend as it. You don't think any manager comes in and does that better than that?
We had that though in Jose and Conte, and no one liked it.
Hang on, no. No. I'm not having this. I'm not having this. If we're gonna have this, if we're having this debate, we're having this debate, John. There's a huge. I feel like we're going really lazy with our analysis of managers that have been at Tottenham in the past. First and foremost, Jose Mourinho, right? Jose Mourinho. Let's have a look at what he had at Tottenham to work with, right? Son and Kane. Yeah, he had Son and Kane. We agreed, top players, right? I think we both agree on that.
Yeah.
Right, Son and Kane up top. Now let's look at his midfield and defensive options that Jose Mourinho had to work with at Tottenham Hotspur. His midfielders were Winks, Skip, Sissoko, Ndombele, and Lo Celso, right? His fullbacks were players like Matt Doherty, Ryan Sessegnon, right? Serge Aurier. He had Davis, Dyer, Joe Rodon, Sanchez. These managers did not have the players that Ange's got. These managers were almost forced into being as one-dimensional as they were because they didn't have any players other than Son and Kane, which they utilised well. Then you look at who Conte had. Look what Conte had, right? Same. We can almost do the same exercise again. I won't because it'll be long, but you not see that Ange's got Van der Ven, Romero, Porro Adogi, Radu Dragusin, Bentancur, Basuma, Kulusevski, James Maddison, Son.
I think Conte had Basuma and Bentancur though, and he had Kulu.
For sure he did. For sure he did. But then look at what he had at the back to work with. So he made us first and foremost. Listen, I don't like Conte. I'm not. You won't find me sitting out here praising Conte, but Antonio Conte at least tried to make us hard to beat. Why is it got to be either Conte style or Ange's style? What about the middle ground, Charlton? What about the manager that makes us hard to beat but good to go forward? What Poch? Why can't we have someone like that?
Well, we could have had a Poch, but loads of the fan base didn't want him back. Yeah.
No, that's not why he didn't come back, though, is it? Look, let's be honest. That's not why he didn't come back. And I'm not even someone who wanted him. I'm just talking about why can we not get a manager that understands tactics? Look at Areola at Bournemouth. Look at the players he's got at his disposal. Hard to beat, well organised, well drilled. Why?
But
why can't we have that?
With those managers that are very mid-table managers that are managing very mid-table teams that are overperforming, like there's no proof that when they come to a big club they're going to perform well. Graham Potter was doing the same thing. Nuno was doing the same thing before he come to Tottenham. All these managers, they're doing great with these small clubs that aren't expected to go and win every single game, that are sort of taking people by surprise a little bit and are winning games of football. But when they come to a big football club and the expectation of winning every single game then starts getting on them, do you then believe that, we might play a little bit more defensive than we do right now, but there's no proof in the pudding that we will start winning more games than we are right now?
But there is proof in the pudding that we'll win more games. There is. This is the thing. So let me throw your exact argument back at you. You've just said that about the likes of Iriola, Silva, Frank, right? Those teams in and around us or just above us in mid-table, right? Where has Ange got us right now?
Yeah, we're in mid-table.
Right. Why are we in mid-table?
Mid-table.
Pardon?
Last year we didn't finish mid-table.
But football evolves. He's proved he can't evolve. Yeah. Last season we didn't finish mid-table, but if you look at it after those first 10 games, look how shit we were, and it's carried on. We just carried on.
We had very, very similar parts of the season. We started very well for the first 10 games last season. Then we had a really poor 9 games, and then after Christmas we played well for 10 games. And then as soon as we started losing some of our defensive line again, it started going downhill again.
But you see, the thing is now what we're doing here is we're being disingenuous and we're rewriting what actually happened, right? When we started going downhill again last season, when we had an awful end to the season, everyone was fit. That everyone was fit. We can't just pretend that players were injured because it suits the narrative. That what I don't get is how are fans looking at all the defeats? I mean, listen, I'm sure if you've watched my shows, right? And you've seen all the facts that I've laid out on the table, and we're still saying this is a good manager, right? But yet the other managers that are above him in the leagues for lesser teams, we're saying, well, what's the proof they could do better? Well, the proof is that they're doing better with worse squads at small clubs with tiny budgets. So why would Silva be able to do a really good job at Fulham with a really tight budget where he loses his best players every year, by the way, right? Why would he be able to do it at Fulham and not Spurs?
But
How did Poch do it at Southampton and then came to Spurs and did it?
He never did it at Everton.
Sure. But
when
Everton...
he had more egos in his football club, he couldn't do it.
Sure, but look at the Everton squad. Everton shouldn't have been anywhere up near there creating for Europe. But again, this is what I mean. Look at our squad. Look at the players we've got. You don't think that with a Marco Silva or an Iriola that we'd be about 6-7 points higher than we are now?
And I think by the end of the season we'll be up towards 5th or 6th again. We had a very poor season this year.
That's not why I asked. But that's not why I asked. That's not why I'm asking the question. If Iriola and or Silva, these are just people, just by example, there's loads of managers out there that we could get. If Iriola or Silva picked up this Spurs squad with the players that we've got, do you not think they'd have us tactically more astute? Do you not think they'd stop inverting fullbacks? Do you think they'd stop having a massive chasm of a gap in the midfield?
Yeah, they would. But when in Arteta's second season, Arsenal were asking the same questions. They were saying, "Why are we playing 4 centre backs? Well, we're not attacking fluidly." But then they stuck with Arteta. And
what did Arteta do? But here's the difference, Charlton. First of all, why do all our fans use Arteta as a benchmark? I've never understood it. We're using Arteta as a benchmark, a guy that in the 5 years he's been there, the cup he won was in his first 3 months with someone else's squad. With the squad he's built, he's never got over the line. I'm not knocking him. He's a good manager, but now we're using that as the benchmark, right? Let me twist your thing back on you, right? The difference between Arteta and Ange Postecoglou is Arteta adapted. Arteta tried different things until he got it right at Arsenal. Ange Postecoglou doesn't change. Surely we've seen that in 18 months.
But when did he adapt? That was after his second season, after they finished 8th for the second season in a row.
But what's that got to do with Ange? Do you think Ange is going to suddenly get to the end of year 2 and abandon his style of play and try something new?
No, but he's this year you've seen some sort of adaptation from him. He hasn't.
No, I haven't. I haven't, mate.
As gung ho as he did last year.
Yes, he does. Are you kidding me? We just listen. I can show you this. Look, this is how Tottenham defend. Look at this. This is how Tottenham defend every game. That's how Tottenham defend. Gung ho. No one in the fullback areas. No defensive midfield. Look at all the midfielders desperately running back to try and save face. What I don't understand, Charlton, is this. All the evidence is there. And I don't understand what anyone has seen from him or has seen from his past that goes, stick with him because he's got a history of doing X, Y, Z. Where's this belief coming from?
Well, in Celtic, he played very similar to the way we did. In
Scotland.
Yeah.
Scotland.
But what I'm saying is he has adapted before. He played very much so like we do right now. And then he started leaving one of his fullbacks slightly back a bit more, and one would invert instead of both of them inverting.
Sure.
So it's not like he has never adapted before. He has.
So why is he not doing that with Spurs?
I don't know. I don't know if it's an ego thing, because now he said, "Well, this is just the way we play," and now he feels like he's got to stay that way. But this year he has adapted. He's tried to play with 2 number 10s. It's not really worked. He's now gone back to the 2 holding midfielders and James Maddison playing a little higher.
He doesn't have 2 holding midfielders. Listen, again, you're seeing what you want to see. This isn't true. He doesn't play 2 holding midfielders. He doesn't play 1 holding midfielder. He plays with 2 number 8s that are never actually in the defence, right? If you watch the way I don't feel like people actually watch his tactics from a tactical standpoint. This manager, right, leaves 2 at the back at all times. And we've got fans saying he'll adapt. We were 5-1 down to Liverpool. At what point do we go, this is embarrassing? Right, we were 2-0 up against Brighton, collapsed because of his gung-ho tactics.
But just because you lose one game by a big scoreline doesn't mean anything. I remember when Liverpool nearly won the league and they lost 5-0 to Watford. Just because we got absolutely obliterated in one game doesn't...
Charlton, it's not about being obliterated in one game. It's about the build-up of games. Look how many games we've won, 1 in 7, for example, right? And did you see how bad 2024 was for Tottenham as a football club? Have you actually looked in detail at how bad as a football club we were in that calendar year?
Yeah, I saw that it was the worst one since 2008.
So what's the excuse for the manager then? Like, listen, I'll show. Look, if I show you all these things and you can still tell me he's a good manager, then you're a better man than I am, right? I just do not get it. Like, again, this was before the Wolves game, so we need to add a draw to this, right? But after 19 games last season, we had 11 wins, 4 draws, and 4 losses, right? This year, we've got, after 19 games, 7 wins, so we're 4 wins worse, 3 draws, 1 draw worse, 9 losses, 5 defeats worse. We've scored 2 more goals, but we've conceded more goals as well, right? But we're 14 points worse off, right? Now, let me remove this banner, right? Have a look at this. This is Ange's points per game, right? This season. It is absolutely horrific. It is horrific. This was before that game, by the way, right? Look, this is the league table for the last 25 games. Tottenham Hotspur for the last 25 games are 15th. Only 2 teams have done worse. Before anyone says where's 18, 19 and 20, this is all the teams that were in the Premier League last year and this year. Can't count the newly promoted teams. Only 2 teams have done worse than us over 25 games, right? This is about his hamstring injuries. Always does it the same at every club, right? Here, 30 points from 78, Charlton. Look at all of these facts adding up. 15 games at home in a calendar year we've gone 1-0 down in. But it's all individual errors and not his tactics. Now have a look at this. This is the big one, Charlton, right? This is the smoking gun, which if people look at this and still go, yes, Spurs are good, I don't know what we're seeing. Game 1 to 19, right? So the first half of last season, 1.89 points per game. Good, really good. 20 to 38, 1.58. That's mid-table. Right? That's mid-table. Season 2, the first half of the season, 1.26. Mate, surely you can see. Next one. Look at this. Worst calendar year for points for 17, 18 seasons. Look at this. He's got worse points per game than Christian Gross, who's considered one of our worst managers ever. How can you see all that and then say to me, yeah, but don't worry because Arteta in his 3rd season, like, doesn't that all add up for you? Like, that it's crap?
It does, but I also do believe in the way he plays will get us. We will improve, and that's
based on what?
I know your stats show that we're actually declining, but
we are.
Let's not go about the first 10 games. We did completely overperform because no team knew how to deal with that sort of style before.
Sure. So forget the first 10 games. Forget the first half of last season. Look at the last half of last season and the first half of this season. It's been utterly shambolic. So what's the excuse for the last 2 halves of seasons?
I think the much different thing this year is obviously a lot of that back line were not 100% fit from the beginning. You're not telling me a doggy was completely fit after having 45 minutes pre-season. You're not telling me Christian Romero wasn't tired from not having any rest from.
Do you see what you're doing? Can you see what you're doing? This is the problem, right? This is the problem. Every football club could say this about certain players that played in this tournament, played in that tournament this summer. They've done this, they've done that. It's only ever Spurs fans that complain about it to this degree, right?
No, my argument is that Christian Romero should have been let at least 2 weeks off. We had Draxler, he could have played there easily for the first 2 to 3 games of the season.
Whose fault is that?
Yeah, that's on Ange. That's the decision he made. And
Right,
Udogie
so,
should
but
never have come
you're
back in.
proving my point. This is his management. You're proving my point. So if Udogie wasn't fully fit, you could have played Spence there. You could have played Reguilon there. He chose to play Udogie, right? If Romero wasn't fully fit, you've got Radu Dragusin. He's a Romanian international. Play him, right? If Porro's not fit, play Spence. He never does these things. And then that's the very thing I'm arguing against, you're agreeing with, but then telling me he's a good manager. Look at the Chelsea game. He brought back, right, Van der Ven and Romero in the same game. Both had been out for a while. Like, at what stage do we turn around and go, that's just pure stupidity? Pure stupidity on his part. You've got Radu Dragusin, who was playing every game, 100% fit, and he's gone, sorry, Radu, can you come and sit on the bench? I'm going to let these two that are only half fit play. Like, at what stage you turn around and go, like, you know, a little bit of common sense needs to come into play, no?
Did Ben Davies get injured before that Chelsea game? I believe he did. So that meant we would have had Dragusin and Gray, that obviously we have now, but he would have had to play with those two as his two centre-backs, with your logic, those two centre-backs going into that Chelsea game. And there's no way we would have coped anywhere near dealing with that Chelsea team. So, yeah, he probably did take a risk, but he's not the only one who will sign off on these players being fit enough to play 90 minutes.
Yeah, believe it or not, it's his decision. Believe it or not, yes, he is the one signing off on whether they should play or not. If I'm a manager and I see, right, both my centre-halves have missed the last month and then they're both fit, surely half the brain from Ange would say, all right, one of them can start, but Dragusin needs to start because he's fully fit. And then I might go 45 minutes for Romero, 45 minutes for Van der Ven, and limit my chances of them getting injured. No, plays them both, right? They get injured. Look, the problem is with all of this, Spurs fans, we've become very good with excuses. There's always an excuse. Like, the overwhelming evidence shows you how bad the manager is doing. This has been the worst manager I've seen for about 30 years. I think he's absolutely atrocious. But because we fly forward and score goals, people go, attacking. It's not attacking football. It's mad. It's gung-ho. It's reckless. Every pundit is saying it. Have you seen after every game, an opposition player comes out and says, yeah, well, we knew our Spurs were going to play. Doesn't that worry you? Everyone knows how we're going to play, and he never adapts. Doesn't it worry you?
You say that about every top team. If a Tottenham player knows what Liverpool can do every game, basically, they can play the same way every game. Right. Every team plays the same way. Really.
How do you stop Liverpool? Tell me. This is the difference. When you play against Spurs, everyone knows what we do because we're wide open and gung ho in the middle. None of these other clubs are wide open and gung ho. So we could turn around to Liverpool and go, oh, I know what Liverpool are going to do. They're going to give it to Salah and Diaz. Stopping Salah and Diaz is a completely different story. At Spurs, all you've got to do is go, all right, let's wait for Porro and Udogie to invert. We'll just counter down the channels. Listen, Charlton, listen, we can go backwards and forwards. Listen, I respect your opinion, mate. Hopefully you feel like it's been like we've had a good chat, but I just don't understand what more this manager has to do wrong for fans to turn around and go, yeah, this guy's crap. I don't understand what they're seeing. And if this was year one, I could almost say, all right, well, he's only been here 6 months. But this guy's been here now for 18, 19, 20 months, and we're getting worse. Last question, isn't that a worry that we're just going that way massively?
Yeah, I think within the next month or 2 months, he does need to make drastic changes to the way he plays his fullbacks mainly, but also the way that he used Pape Sarr. If he wants to invert one of them, Pape Sarr needs to sit more than he does, in my opinion, or the second midfielder needs to sit more than he does. We've been
saying this for 18 months and he never does it, mate. This is what I don't. I want to know from you. Where is your belief coming from that he is going to do that? Because we all know what he needs to do. My mum is dead. She knows what he needs to do, right? Everyone knows what he needs to do. He won't do it. And yet fans come on every week and go, yeah, well, when he tweaks, when he adapts, and it's like,
He did adapt at Celtic in his second season, though.
yeah, but let's be brutally honest. He's got the best team in the country at Celtic. What does he really have to do? They win the league every year. They have 60% of all transfers revenue spent in the Scottish League is by Celtic every summer, right? Look, listen, I hope you're right, Charlton. I hope he adapts. I hope he changes. But this has been going on so long, and it's the same argument, and I'm waiting for it to change. Aren't you bored of waiting for him to adapt?
I would much prefer us to go and get a specialist back three manager to play the players that we've got that will suit that system perfectly. Because in my opinion, with the players we've got, obviously the centre backs are all suited to play as a back three. We've got fullbacks. We've got fullbacks that, or not even fullbacks, they're wing backs really. In Porro and Spence on the right side, both very good wing backs. And on the left, we've got a Doggy, and Reguilon's a very good wing back. He's shown that last year at Brentford. And then we've got those midfielders, those 6 and 8 hybrid midfielders that if they play in a double pivot, that'd be a lot better. And then you've got players that if we play them off of Dom Solanke, like we could play Dom Solanke and Maddison and Kulu off of him, or we could play Son and Johnson off of him. And I think we'd get a lot better out of Johnson in that position because his main asset is goal scoring.
So do you know what you've just done, though? Ending this show, you know what you've just done with that last little monologue? You've just agreed with everything I've said, that the manager's playing the players wrong, that we've got the setup for another tactical display. You're literally saying what I'm saying without saying the same thing, if that makes sense. This manager's not getting it right with the players he's got. But listen, Charlton, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming on. Listen, please, when he's sacked, please call in again. Please call in again when he's sacked. Hopefully it's tomorrow. No, just kidding. Not kidding. Please, thank you for coming on, and hopefully you'll come on again.
Yeah, just finally, score tomorrow. It's going to be 3-1 Tottenham.
I love your confidence, my man. I love your confidence.
Last year we battered them 4-0 at home.
Yeah, but last year we've very much regressed since that team. Listen, hope you're right. I just don't think you will be. Have a great Friday evening, my man. Take care.
Right, see you there, bro.
See you, mate. Bye-bye. Right, thank you very much for coming on there, Charlton. Right, we are going to I'm going to bring on, for the last 15 minutes, I'm going to bring on 3 people together, if that's all right, because I can't do 3 individual conversations. So I'm going to bring on, if that's all right, I'm going to bring on Philly. I'm going to bring on Eugene. Put your camera on Eugene. And I'm going to bring on Anthony. Guys, I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say. We have so many fans that have accepted mediocrity. Listen, Philly, go. I need to wee more than you can know. So, Philly, say something.
First and foremost, mate, who is thinking Andrew's going to adapt? Because he's been here over 14 months here. He's already come out and said, yeah, I'm not going to adapt. So anyone's thinking that he's going to adapt here, don't bother. And all these formations that people are throwing up here, 3-4-1-2, 3-5-2, they are actually irrelevant because you know what? He's not going to change. He's just going to carry on going the same way. Even if we're getting beaten by 4, by 5, by 6, he will just continue playing the same way. So it's irrelevant to me when I look at it. When I see the wing backs inverting, you're cutting down the options for Maddison to pass the ball to. So what is the point in any of all of this? It's irrelevant to me. My manager's going to get sacked anyway.
Yeah, listen, I was listening to all that. I was listening to that. Yeah, listen, this is what I don't understand. And I'll bring Eugene in here. Good evening to you, Eugene, and to you, Anthony. Hope you're well, guys. Yeah, look, I mean, Eugene, this is what Philly said is true. We've got the managers telling us weekly, I'm not changing, right? It's like me. If it's like, I shouldn't use me in case the wife's in earshot. It's like a husband who cheats on his wife and she says, oh, I've caught you. Well, I'm not changing. I'm going to keep doing it. Oh, okay then. Like, he's telling us, Eugene, I'm not changing. I'm not going to change my tactics. This is what we do. Why? Oh, why? I know you rate him. I know you want him in. Why? Why, Eugene? Talk to me.
And honestly, it's not that I rate him. I just don't care who the manager is at this point. And the reason is I don't think it's going to matter. Sure, you bring in a new manager, we're going to just, we're going to win a few more games, sure, right? But our ceiling at this point is what, 4th, 5th? That's our ceiling with the way we do business with our squad. I agree. And it's not going to change. And the injuries, I put mostly on him, given the way he plays. Is he a long-term solution? No. His tactics are naive. Again, I agree with most of the things everybody's saying about him. I think it's common sense. However, the issue is that it doesn't matter who we bring in. That's my biggest problem. I would rather see the club as a whole. If they make a decision, they bring somebody in, back that person, and then if he fails and live with the consequences. Right now, what's going to happen is we bring in a manager. We're going to ask him to adapt to the players that we currently have, and that's not a recipe for success. So to me, it doesn't matter who comes in.
I've got to refute this. I've got to refute this completely. First and foremost, I have no idea. I keep hearing this line. It seems like everyone that's backed Ange everyone that's dying on their sword for Ange is coming out with this very same excuse of it doesn't matter who's in charge. Where is this come from that it doesn't matter who's in charge? Let me set the scene here. I can't stand Daniel Levy and Enoch. I'm going to say that before anyone goes, oh, you're excusing Levy and Enoch, right? I can't stand them, right? But in his 24 years of tenure, Daniel Levy, there have been managers that have made Spurs really good. Now, did they make us title winners? No. Did we manage to get over the line? Okay, other than Ramos, no. But teams that I think we were proud of, teams where you thought, yeah, we're playing Newcastle at home. That's 3-0. Teams where you thought, yeah, Redknapp's team, we'll take these. Yeah, Poch's team, yeah, I'm not worried about this. Right? We had teams that were good that we never built upon. Right? But were good that made us go, we are a good team. Other teams, other fans across the country were like, well, Spurs are good. Spurs are a good team. They might mock us, but we were good. We were good to watch. We were defensively solid and we attacked well. So where is this notion, Eugene, that it doesn't matter who's in charge? Surely, if you've got a better manager in charge, we're higher up the table. We've got a bit more respect. We've got more credibility and we win more games. Of course it matters who's in charge.
I think it comes, but look, if you look at Poch's team, look at the talent, right? Again, I'm not arguing that we'll win more games, but I had this debate with Stel yesterday, right?
I bet he cooked you as well, didn't he?
No, he did not. So he was saying he'd be happy to be a cup-winning team, to win a cup once in a while. And I'm saying I'm not happy with that. I want to consistently compete with the big boys. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. But I want to be up there. And that's
Eugene, can I ask you something? If a manager come in here and play the players in the right position, actually put round pegs in round holes here, and actually put the square pegs in square holes here, do you think Tottenham will be better than we are? Because the way I look at Ange here, right, I see him putting players in the wrong position, so he exposes their weaknesses. That's what I see anyway.
Hold on, we bring in any manager you want right now with the way this team is, with the way we do business. Can we compete right now for big trophies? Obviously not.
But Eugene, why have we? But again, you see what we're doing here. I love this because everyone's been very wrong about this manager. We're now conflating two very different topics. Yeah. If the topic is the manager any good? Should he be at this club? Let's have that conversation. If the topic's going to be, do Levy and Enoch do enough to make us title challengers and compete? Let's have that conversation. But for me, what we're doing is now everyone that's been wrong about Ange is now wrapping in the Levy story to back up what's been a really crap appointment. Eugene, if it doesn't matter who's manager, right? Why didn't Poch have us Why didn't Poch have us mid-table after 18 months? Why didn't Harry Redknapp have us mid-table after 18 months? Why didn't Martin Jol have us mid-table after 18 months? And before you say, I know what you're going to say, before you say like you did just now about the talent Poch had, don't forget how much of that he coached to be better. Don't forget when Pochettino turned up, we were a mess. And Pochettino went, right, Walker, I'm going to turn you into this. Rose and Walker weren't Rose and Walker we knew when he joined. Right? Ericsson wasn't playing anywhere near he was playing. Right? Dembele, he wasn't doing anything for Spurs when Pochettino arrived. He turned him into one of the best midfielders in the league. So when we're talking about look at the players he had, maybe, just maybe because Pochettino coached, maybe because he built a team in a good unit that all played, as Philly said, square pegs, square holes. So, Eugene, of this feels like a really lazy argument now that it just doesn't matter. So, I'll ask you this question. So, Man City have won the league 6 years in the last 8, right? No one else has really touched it. Liverpool had it 1 year, Liverpool won it. Other than that, no one's been able to touch Man City. Does that mean that every team just turns around and says, oh, well, it doesn't matter who's in charge then because Man City are going to win the league? Or do clubs like Liverpool go out and go, yeah, we want Arne Slot because that's a good manager that's going to build and going to grow? Or did it stop Bournemouth sacking O'Neill and bringing in Iriola, who grew the team? Why does it not matter who's the manager at Spurs? We're not winning titles every year, so of course it matters.
Right, but I want to see a plan. If you look at Liverpool, Klopp, Slot, you see the types of players they're bringing in, the money that they're spending. They have a plan. For me, again, on the micro level, sure. For me, sack Ange once he's out of the cups. That's fine. Again, I'm not saying I don't see him as a long-term solution. But look at Liverpool because you mentioned
why does that matter?
What?
Why does it matter? We're not in a final. What is this magical sacking when he's out the cups? First of all, the FA Cup hasn't even started. He can't be knocked out of that. The Europa Cup, I think there's only about 4 teams at the moment that mathematically can't qualify out of the Europa League. So what is this obsession with sacking when he's out the cups? We look awful.
I don't want to see Ryan Mason. I don't think even in the summer we cannot get our first, second, third choice. Right now, if we have a replacement, if we have a good manager lined up, sure. But we don't. We never do. Ryan Mason, I don't want to see Ryan Mason again.
You see in the last 2-3 months how your stance has completely changed. You weren't saying any of this. Before, it was just backhand. Now that everything we've said has come true, it's, well, there's no point. It doesn't matter. Right? I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you this question. Right? If we had a better manager, are we not closer to the top 4 than we are now?
We could be 6th, of course.
Okay, but we couldn't be any higher, no?
We'll be higher. I mean, again, obviously, a lot of the injuries I put on Ange, but would definitely be higher. But again, for me personally, when we made our predictions before the season, I said we'll finish 5th or 6th. Right? Again, that's our ceiling. I rated Ange. I thought that's what's going to happen, 5th or 6th. For me, ultimately, it doesn't matter. I want us to win a cup this year because I know we're not competing. But on the macro level,
I want us to win a cup. Do you think we're winning a cup under Ange? You think these tactics are going to win us a trophy?
With the injuries now.
No. Hang on. Eugene, no offense. You know what I always say, listen, I love you to bits, man. And I'll say this to your face. I won't say it behind anyone's back. It's just excuse after excuse. Like, so far in the show, it's been, I don't want Mason. No one mentioned Ryan Mason, right? It's been injuries now. Then it was, it doesn't matter who's manager. Like, why can't we just turn around and go, this manager shouldn't be the manager of Tottenham. He's not good enough. Why are we not able to just do that?
I mean, I would sack him once he's out of the Cubs. Personally, I would sack him.
Why?
Because we'd have a better chance hiring a better manager. Because right now, I don't think we're going to find anybody.
Can I ask you something then, Eugene? Right, the way that we play, yeah, and the way we played Liverpool, and the manager's already told you, I'm not going to change it. Do you actually believe that Tottenham will beat Liverpool?
Yeah. Nope. unless they play.
Then sack the manager now. Then just sack him now because you're not going to beat Liverpool the way you play. Finish.
But we're not going to beat him with any manager. That's the problem. Who are you going to hire right now that we're going to have a chance against Liverpool?
You'd have a better chance.
Sure, but couldn't you hire a manager that actually goes into the game and says, you know what, I'm actually going to be hard to beat. I'm actually going to give us a punching chance rather than just walk through our defense and score 6 goals. I don't understand this notion. Why do fans want to keep a bad manager? I don't get it. We're acknowledging everyone I've spoken to has said with a better manager we'd be higher at the table. But then we've got half the fan base going, but I wouldn't sack him. But on what? I mean, like, people going, there's still the Europa. Anyone thinks we're going to win the Europa with this manager's tactics? Anyone thinks we're going to go to quarterfinals, semi-finals and win over 2 legs against tough teams in Europe? I mean, really? What are we watching? Like, what's going on here? Like, this is PTSD at its worst. This is... Sorry, Eugene. I feel like you've done a complete 180 in... You've been... For me... I think you've been very wrong about the manager. You've backed him all the way. I think now you've realised that you've backed the wrong horse. And now, rather than just turning around and going, yeah, he's got to go, what we're doing is we're getting the full playbook of excuses, injuries, doesn't matter who's the manager, the owners. Hang on, under these owners who I don't even like, we finished second, we finished third, we finished fourth a number of times, we've been in multiple finals, but yet we can't do better with this squad with any other manager than Ange. It's madness.
Last thing, no, I've been, because I said I back any manager for 2 years, right? I did rate Ange, meaning I thought in the second year he'd be able to adapt a bit to the league and make some tweaks. He hasn't done that, so obviously that changes my opinion on whether he is the solution long term. I don't think he is. However, my stance on managers doesn't change. As a club, if you make a commitment, if you hire a manager, give him the tools, stick with him for 2 years.
He's got the tools. He's got the tools.
Do you think so? I disagree.
Do I think he's got the tools to not be bottom half of the table?
No.
Yeah. Yes,
no,
I do.
The tools to compete, let's say, FA Cup in Europa. He does.
Okay.
Or he does not.
Hang on. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, you're telling me how good a manager this is. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't have the tools to compete in the FA Cup or the Europa. The Europa League, for me, should be a team. We should be going deep in that tournament. I don't think we will because of the manager's tactics. There's no one in that tournament that I look at and go, you're amazing. But the difference is we've got such a bad manager that we're not going to compete with those teams. You look at him in Europe so far, Eugene, right? He's beaten 3 really bad teams and not managed to beat 2 good teams that we've played, Galatasaray and Roma. Good, not great. And then got absolutely played off the park by a terrible Rangers team, right? Tottenham should be top of that group. Tottenham should know this guy's got the tools. Why has he not got the tools to win the FA Cup?
A lot of it, we have no depth. The players are running on fumes. You see Porro, Dogi, all of them. They have to play every single game. We have no depth to play on 4 fronts. That's what happened to Newcastle a couple of years back. They had all these injuries. They were thin. But that's it.
You know what I love? The Newcastle example is now the new example. It was Arsenal with Arteta. Now it's moved to Newcastle. Right? Eugene, let me refute everything you've just said there about the depth, because this frustrates the life out of me. Why is Porro tired?
Because he has to play every game.
Okay, right. Why does he have to play every game?
I agree, and should have played Spence there more. Definitely.
Right. So, okay. If you agree with that, so your statement is factually incorrect.
No.
He has to play every game. No. Hang on.
I think he is, but
hang on, Eugene.
Okay.
Eugene, hang on. When you're turning around and saying he has to play every game, and then in the next sentence he should have played Spence more. So he didn't have to play.
Go on the left.
Every game. Right, left side. Right. Why is Udogie tired?
He has to play every game.
Why?
We don't have a backup for him.
Yes, we do. We've got 2 people that can play left back. Why?
Regulon is obviously hasn't been rated by 2 different managers, or 3 different managers, or 4.
He's
not good enough.
But again, Eugene, what frustrates me massively is you conflate arguments. Have the argument you're having. The argument was he's got no one that can play there. Yes, he has. He's got 3 options that could play at left back. 3, other than Udogie. He could play Van der Ven there if he really wanted to before he was injured. He could play Ben Davies there. He can play Serge Reguilon there. He could play Jed Spence there. So why is he? So your reasoning is we haven't got the depth. Is actually Ange never ever plays anyone other than his 11. That's the difference.
Spence can either play on the right or the left. He can play on both at the same time. Reguilon is not good enough. It's like you can say any team has depth because they can bring in.
Why is Reguilon not good enough? What's Udogie actually done this year that makes you go, Reggie's not good enough, but Udogie is? What's Udogie done? Can't defend.
Udogie has been great, but Reguilon, I mean, there is no reason to consider that he's good enough if he hasn't been rated by Conte, by Ange, by Ten Hag, by nobody wants him. Like, I don't know, but there's a reason why nobody wants him.
When he came on the other day, he didn't do anything wrong. Came off Spurs, stayed at left back, didn't invert. Actually, he looked like a fullback, put in a couple of good tackles against their winger. But you see what I mean, Eugene? There's an excuse for everything. Ange runs these players into the ground because he never rotates them. Then fans like you say, oh, he's got no one to rotate. No. And Anthony, I will come to you in a minute. Thank you for being patient. No, Eugene. He's had the chance. He made the decision to never play Porro and never play Spence at right back. He made the decision to drop Jed Spence from our Europa League squad, which could have given Porro every single midweek off in the Cups.
I agree.
He made the decision to not play Serge Reguilon ever, even in the Europa League. Why couldn't he have played Serge Reguilon against all these crappy European teams we played? He made the decision that when Van der Ven and Romero were fit, he was never going to put Radu Dragusin in to give one of them a game off. He makes the decision that Kulusevski plays every God-given minute whilst blaming Maddison and Maddison sitting on the bench all the time and being substituted off. So for me, no, Eugene. He's had plenty of players he could rotate in. He just chooses not to.
I mean, if you think our squad is deep enough to compete on 4 fronts, especially when fans want him to put out the strongest teams in the Cups, I disagree. No, even our starting 11 are not very good if you look at all of them. But now we're saying our backup players are good enough to be in the Cups, then we'd go out in the first round like with Conte.
Sorry, so you're telling me that against Panathinaikos, God knows where that came from. You're telling me that's the one. Ferencvaros, AZ Alkmaar, Karabag, right? You're telling me in all those games, Serge Reguilon couldn't have played at left back and coped against these poor teams?
I don't know. I know that Spence.
I can tell you now he would have coped. Do you know why I can tell you he would cope? Because unlike a lot of things here, he actually got more pedigree in Europe here than the manager himself. Because Serge Reguilon has actually won the Europa League. Do you know that?
27. What's the fascination with Reguilon when no coach he played for in the last 7 years rates him? I don't understand. He's just a name.
Is he that bad?
Spain, that's why we rate him.
Is he? Listen, I don't think anyone said they rate him, but when you look at Udogie, is the drop off to Reggie that big that we're turning around and saying, right, by the way, I also mentioned Ben Davies. I also mentioned that Jed Spence can play there. He could have changed all the time, Eugene. He hasn't. But you know why you don't like that answer? Because again, it proves you wrong. You don't like it.
I don't care if I'm wrong, Savva. I'm not. If I'm wrong, right, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying.
You do. You're saying we've had no players to rotate. Why does Kulu play every minute for Tottenham Hotspur?
Well, it's him and Maddison, so obviously Ange doesn't rate Maddison as much as he rates Kulu.
Right, but Eugene, again, that's not the point. The point is, big up El Tel. The point is, if we are going to turn around and say, right, that, he doesn't rate Maddison as much as Kulu, but then what will happen is Kulu will pick up an injury and then everyone will go, Kulu's injured. Yeah, because he plays every minute of every game rather than saying, you know what, I don't need Kulu tonight, or Kulu can come off at half time, Maddison can play, or so-and-so can play in there. He's had plenty of players to rotate. He never, ever does. Archie Gray could have played in midfield. Never has. Well, I don't understand, Eugene. When we're kind of this revisionism on facts that aren't factual is just scary for me.
I don't know if I disagree. Again, I don't think even our starting 11 is good enough. Playing decent teams in forefront and rotating players, I don't see how we can do that.
Did we beat Man City 4-0?
Yeah, but Man City are shambles.
No, hang on. Did we beat Aston Villa 4-1 or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Right. So
for obvious reasons, because they play an open game. When teams play an open game against us, we can score.
Right.
When teams play low block and counter, we can barely score a goal. That's our issue.
I agree. But what we're saying is we can beat those teams, but against the likes of Ferencvaros, Glasgow Rangers, we can't play people like Jed Spence and Serge Reguilon or Archie Gray in midfield. Like, what are we doing here?
I'm all in for Spence. I will play Spence. That was a big mistake, not including Spence in the Europa squad. I agree. But this, Reguilon, I don't buy it. Again, like, we didn't do enough in the transfer window to bring anybody in.
Sure, but Reggie's not that bad. Listen, I don't think Reggie's a great fullback, but Reggie's not that bad that you turn around and say, oh my God, if Serge Reguilon plays today, we lose the game. Like,
you might be right, but you might be right.
I just don't get. It's just listen, Anthony. I'll come to you, and then I'll come to Jose. How you doing, man? Hope you're both okay. Happy New Year, Anthony. You've just listened to all of that. Where are you at with everything?
I'm gonna drop. Pick up, you guys. Philly, Sabatoni.
Brilliant, Jose. Anthony. Say whatever you want. Go for it, Anthony. Go for it.
Well, first of all, I'd like to start off by saying you should take a piss now while you have a chance, Savva, instead of waiting for us to get through all of our nonsense. Like, go relieve yourself so you can be relaxed and have a conversation and allow Philly to take over, and I'll fill in and Eltel will be there, and we'll take up the man.
I've already had my piss, Anthony. It's too late for that. I've had my piss. Don't worry. I'm all good.
Wait, how'd you do that? You needed to go off camera.
I did go off camera.
You did? All right. I guess I wasn't paying attention. So, one of the things that there's so many things I have about Ange, but I'll try to keep it brief. My Arsenal mate told me yesterday something that you know, but I don't know or didn't know. That's that no English manager has ever won the Prem. And I think that plays a part in this whole Ange narrative. I think if Ange was, had an Italian or Spanish last name, or God forbid was American, I think he would have been out months ago. I think that the press has adopted him as some kind of English adjacent, lovable, says mate, cracks some jokes, watches the rugby sevens, has, understands the darts. He gets English culture. He's sort of one of them. So just for, I'm trying to always work out how the hell this guy has gotten the amount of rope that he's been able to get when he should have been fired long time ago. If anything, definitely at the end of November, he should have been gone. One of the things about, this whole comparison of, I hate Levy. Obviously, the problems start with Daniel Levy, but let's face the facts. If you're riding on an airplane, let's say you're riding on United Airlines and you're taking a flight, and you don't like the CEO of United, you don't like the way the planes are, you don't like the price you paid for your ticket, you don't like the way the companies run, the food they serve on an international flight is terrible. All these different things you can list. They're an awful airline, but for whatever reason, your company put you on them and you're flying them, right? Well, yeah, that's true. So you don't like United Airlines, you don't like the CEO, but if the person that's actually flying the plane is fucking incompetent, you're going to be nervous and you're going to want a new pilot to pilot that plane. And if there are a couple of people, let's say they're pilots that they do what's called jump seating. They get on the plane just to ride to another place for free, because they're pilots with the airline. if they could take over, and the pilot that you're currently, dealing with is flying sideways and up and down and making you sick, and he might get you to your destination, but he's just an awful pilot during herky jerky motions and stuff. You're going to want him replaced immediately. You're not going to want to go like, well, it's overall it's the CEOs of United's fault, and I guess this guy got hired by him somehow, so I'm just going to wait it out and just let things happen, because it's not really the pilot, it's more the head of the company. You're going to say, I hate the head of the company, but right now I'm going to throw up in the throw up bag because of this pilot. I need him out immediately. That's sort of the way that I look at it in terms of the whole Ange thing. It's not a case of we don't have the luxury of like, well, overall it's Levy's fault because he does the hiring and firing, and he hired Scott Munn, who hired Ange, and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that right now. We're about to crash. I said this on Savva's show, and I'm not tuning my own horn, but or maybe I am tooting my own horn. I said a few months ago, I said, we're in real trouble. I said, this is really, really, really bad. Worse than anyone can think of. Worse than anything in my 22 years of watching Spurs. This manager is a fucking car crash, and he is going to destroy our club. One of the things that Ange has done
Please don't drop F-bombs on my show.
Sorry, my bad. Apologies. I'm sorry.
That's
Savva.
okay, man. That's all right.
I'm sorry. My bad. My bad.
Okay.
I really do apologize. I won't do it again. This manager is awful, and the one thing about him is he's the anti-Conte, whereas Conte was completely defensive. This guy is completely offensive, and when it works, especially those things where they pass it on the side and then the one guy kind of leaves it off for another runner, and there's some beautiful interchanges and some really great play and stuff like that. And there's some patterns of play that Ange has drilled into them, which are frankly beautiful. So no one's 100% bad, and it is easier on the eyes to watch us, I guess, when we're in full flight than under Conte, when we were having those boring 1-0 wins or whatever, and it was hard to watch. So I'll definitely give him that he has changed us from an overly defensive team to an overly offensive one. I would argue that Conte didn't have the tools that he needed, and neither does Ange. But I would say this: with all the hamstring injuries that are happening, there's no way that this is a coincidence. You've mentioned this before yourself. He's destroying our club physically. The players are clearly being run into the ground. We can't have him if we wanted to. We don't have the luxury of being able to say, well, let's just give this guy time. Fine, we can give him till the end of the season, and then we'll reassess then. No, I think by that time there'll be players' careers that are destroyed, because if Mickey Van de Ven's hamstring goes again and again, he's done. He's literally going to be done as a football player. And there's multiple people that are who knows if Wilson Odobert has a second hamstring pull. We might not ever see if this guy has potential. These guys are all getting the same injury, and it's because of two things. Number one, it's his tactics in practice, and number two, it's the fact that, like you said, he doesn't rotate. So my point is we're at DEFCON 5 right now. We don't have this luxury of waiting to get rid of the manager. He needs to be out tomorrow. And the reason why I think Mason would be better, and I can't stand Mason as manager. The thought of it makes my it just makes me ill. But I will say this. I don't think he would get the players injured as much. I would think he would take care of the players more, because he was a player himself. He's not so, Ange hasn't played in 30 years. Ryan Mason hasn't played in 6 years. So I think because he's closer to this Mark just put on exactly what I'm saying. These reoccurring hamstring injuries are they're really serious. They're not just one of those things. It's not like people keep breaking their wrist or something. Okay.
It's forced. It's forced. Anthony, I want to make sure that I get, because I've only can go for another 10 minutes max. I want to make sure that I get Jose hasn't talked yet, and I want to get Philly in as well. But look, I think everything you've said there, I agree with you. You listen, if something's not working, you change it. You know, you can give somebody X amount of time to try and change it, but this has been now 14 months that he's not been able to change this football club. He's making us worse. Look, Jose, how we doing, man? You good? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone on the panel. Happy New Year to everyone on the chat. I'm still all bunged up, but in a better place than what I was last week.
Sounds sexy to me, mate. That's all that matters.
Don't know about that.
You've heard quite a lot. I mean, listen. The fact that so many fans are now Ange out probably tells you that things are a complete shit show at the club. But where are you with it all?
I think, in all honesty, I think the what you call it? Your X and your YouTube are full of people that want to Ange out. You go to the stadium, no, it's a different story. It's although the percentage is climbing, stadium possibly it possibly is climbing. The majority of the people that go to the stadium are still in favour of Ange. It's just there's a big movement on social media that are Ange out. I think there's a lot of problems at the club. I don't think it's just managerial. I think it's a lot more than just managerial at the club.
Sure.
But the manager is part of the problem at the moment. I was hearing what you guys were talking about, the not playing of certain players and others. And my lookout on it is our squad from the summer. A lot of us, no one's going to disagree on this panel, and I don't think anyone in the chat's going to disagree because we were saying it back in the summer that we were thin. Our
I agree.
Transfer dealings were thin. However, it's like a deck of cards. You play poker, you get given a hand. That's the hand you play with. So we know from the summer, from the 2nd of September, we knew that this is what we've got to play with. Now, from doing that, you've got to make a decision, or Ange needs to make a decision. Either the youngsters that we've brought in are good enough or are being coached to be good enough to be selected. Because obviously with the dealings that we did, we ended up, and I said this before on a previous show, it always seems to be, when we're in Europe, I hear Tottenham talking about homegrown and academy trained.
Yeah,
I do not hear this. I do not hear this from Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Aston Villa have gone into it this season. Newcastle, who were in it last season. All teams that have only been in it for 1 year. I don't ever hear homegrown and academy. And the fact that we can only select a squad of 23 players, then minimises the impact of being able to use people like Jed Spence and Serge Reguilon. The cleverer idea might have been at the time is not to have picked Timo Werner in that squad because you had enough cover up front and maybe swapped in either Reguilon or Reguilon or Spence in your original 23. But every time we're in Europe, this ain't the first time. We was in Europe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago and beyond. And every time we're in Europe, all I ever see is people talk about homegrown and academy trained, but I never hear any other clubs do it. Yeah. And for me, that's got to be poor planning. Simple as it's poor planning.
I agree.
It leaves us completely short. I mean, we knew going into the summer because the season ended last year in May, right? And we knew in May what we had qualified for, we qualified for a European campaign this year. So therefore, you're going to be in your 2 domestic cups. You've got to play in the Premiership, and we've qualified for a European. So you're going at 4 fronts. So when you do your business in the summer, your business surely must be done with the thought process that 4 competitions.
Agreed. Listen, I don't, Philly, I'll come to you in 1 second, mate. I don't disagree with any of that. And listen, I was one of the first people shouting in the summer that what a terrible window, while other people were saying we're going to finish 3rd and challenge for titles. But like you said, I think the key thing you said there, which I really liked, was, sometimes this is the cards you're dealt with. And the problem is there are times where when we're all going, oh, Reggie's not like Eugene saying there, oh, Reguilon's not good enough. Okay, but is he that bad that he can't play? Like people said this before the season. Davis, oh, he's not good enough. Werner's not good. They're all playing. Why couldn't Reguilon? And by the way, I don't think there'll be a massive defensive drop-off because I actually think Reggie is a left back. you know what I mean? I think he is somebody that will naturally do the defensive work first rather than a Dogi who's attacking. But he's had options. Listen, I'm not sitting here and saying that, Jed Spence and Reggie should play every week, but there's been times where you go, right, Spurs have played 2 games in the last 5 days. Right, do you know what, Porro? Come and sit with me for 90 minutes. Spence, you're going to play right back. Adogi, look, you're nursing a bit of a hamstring or whatever it is. Reggie, you play there, or Spence go and play there. I'm not saying they all have to be rotated at the same time, but for me, I just think he's mismanaged this squad so badly, like so badly. And let me give you one more example before I come to you, Philly. Have a look up front, right? Solanke's going to be the next one that's going to get an injury, right? Because again, when we're losing games, we've got 15, 20 minutes to go, drawing a game. Do you ever see Lancashire come on for 20 minutes? Nope. Doesn't want to give him a run out. He wants to give no one but his first team a run out. And then Maddison, right, who's not injured, keeps being dropped, keeps being rested, keeps being whatever word you want to use. But Kulu, who we're flogging, is playing every God-given minute. I just can't. For me, I just think he's got everything wrong for me at this club. Everything. From tactics to press conferences, substitutions. I think he's got everything wrong, Philly. I really do.
I said in the summer to you, Savva, and I said it to International Observer as well. Tottenham is Jurassic Park. I'm sorry, it is. You start off all nice and it's all happiness, and towards the end, you hear the screaming and people running for cover. This is exactly what's going to happen, right? Now, I didn't want Werner yet because I knew the overseas limit would come in somewhere along the line. And he's not good enough for me. And I don't like Werner. And I said that in January last year. And for Ange to come out in December and say to me now, Werner is not good enough, that to me tells me he's not a good manager anyway. Because it wanted to take you 12 months to notice that Werner isn't good enough for your system. He's not. It is what it is. So now I'm looking at the team itself here. And yes, we do have... You can't tell me that Porro and Adoji are going to play every single game. You could arrest them for Europe, like Ferencváros. You could play Spence and you could play Reggie against Ferencváros. They're not good teams. And like I said, my man's already won a European trophy already. Reguilon's already won a European trophy for Sevilla. So he's already got European pedigree. So playing against those teams here, he knows how to play against those teams there. So that would suit him more. And then that way, when you get to the league games here, you can play Adoji, and you'll have a rested Adoji that you can play. Yep. You've got a rested Porro that you can play, and even Porro I don't rate him anyway. But you have a rested Porro so that you can play in the league. But every game that we play, this is bad. This is like you said, yeah. I'm expecting Maddison to go down soon as well because he has an injury every season. So even when he plays, he's going to get an injury, bro.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I'll try to keep it. I won't curse. I'll try to keep it short. There's 2 things I want to bring up. Number one, if you watched Sean Butler interview people after the game, he interviewed I think it was a father and a son combination. Really nice guys. They weren't bad people, but they were very almost kind and sweet. And they were like, I want Anjin. I want to support him. I don't agree with some of the things, but I do think we need to be Anjin. And it was like, to me, they were representative of the fact that this fan base, at least the fans that attend the games at the stadium, has really lost its edge. And I think that's by design. I think that the stadium and all the distractions and all the Korean fans that the cameras constantly want to go to, and I'm not digging out Koreans. I'm simply saying that they don't probably live in England and they're probably visiting to see Sonny, which is natural. So it's not an anti-Korean thing. I'm simply saying they're not the hardcore.
Or you don't have to caveat your. I get it. It's fine.
You never know in this day and age. People anti-Korean. Anyway, the point, and the camera loves to pan to the fact that the Koreans, so like almost show like, see, look, they have all these Korean fans. So one of the things that what Levy's done is because we left White Hart Lane, which was may have been junky and leaky and messed up, but it was ours. And he's turned this. He's made us play in this corporate, soulless, beautiful bowl, but it has no passion. And what they've done is they've diluted the match day experience. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. My point is that the fans don't have that anger, because it's almost like
It's a day out.
It's almost like you go to see a band, and the band plays really badly. Like they're a band you liked and you've always liked, but they put on a terrible, lazy, crappy show. But you get free beers and you get a free meal, and there's really there's some fun games to play in the other room. You can play foosball and darts for in whatever pool. And so it's like you're kind of like, yeah, I was mad, but I'm still having fun. It's still a good time.
Yeah.
They've taken away that. So these people were the most milquetoast fans, and I was thinking if they were interviewing them a lot down the road, and they had Levy as their GM and Ange as their manager, they would be, talk about getting your stream demonetized. Sean wouldn't be able to even play the interviews if it was Arsenal fans. And let's say the same thing were happening. They would be spitting invective. They would be angry. They would be pointing stuff out. They still have that fury in them. So that's one thing, is the fact that I feel like our fan base, at least in terms of attending the games, has become this really kind of milk toasty prawn sandwich brigade. Not they're not fighters. It seems like most of them, not all.
Isn't it more worrying? Like, listen, I've seen the video, and I don't want to, don't really want to talk about other YouTubers, but I think the more worrying thing.
About Sean, I'm just talking about.
No, you're not. I know you're not. I'm just saying. I mean, look, for me, what's more worrying is the fact that why we're so bad and have been for 14 months. Why are so many people anging? If we're going, the fans that go, right? So if I decide to go tomorrow and pay, suddenly is that going to make me go? Well, actually, I want to. Yeah. Actually, I'm anging. I'm still watching the same crap, right? I stopped going because I won't pay Daniel Levy, right? I won't pay Daniel Levy. But these are the same fans, I hasten to add, that when we're 5-1 down against Liverpool, are singing the manager's name rather than demanding
the defensiveness of Conte. It's because the guy said it. He said we didn't like the defensive football that we had under Nuno/Conte, and we couldn't.
But this football we're playing now isn't like this notion that we're playing any form of attacking styled football. We're gung ho. I don't think people know the difference between gung ho and a good solid attacking team, i.e. Liverpool. Look at the way Liverpool play. Liverpool, when they attack, they are frightening. Right? But look how solid they are throughout their team, because they don't do the inverted thing. They're midfielders, players, midfielders. The problem is this. You're 5-1 down to Liverpool at home. And rather than screaming for the manager to do something tactically, to make us harder to beat, to stop the flow of goals, our fans are singing his name. For me, this will get me in a lot of trouble. Those fans have what they deserve. I'm not singing a manager's name at 5-1 down when he's literally gone in at half-time 3-1, come out the second half and gone, do the same thing to us, Liverpool. Just walk through us. Jose, I'd love to get your feeling on that, because I know that a lot of fans will be annoyed that I've said that some fans have what they deserve. I know they will. But at half-time, you're 3-1 down to Liverpool, the best team in the country. Don't you do something to say, right, stick in, be hard to beat. Like, don't let in 4 or 5. No, same thing. Just
by
run
the
through
way,
it.
guys, someone's TV is on in the background. It's really hard to hear.
Yeah, it is really loud somewhere.
So,
my TV's down, mate. I turned mine low.
Yeah, I mean, but Jose, let me know your feelings. Guys, I do need to go in 3 minutes as well. I'm an hour over. Jose, 5-1, cheering the manager. I mean, it's weird, isn't it?
The difficulty that I've got, and I can't answer it for you, and the difficulty that I've got in answering that is I don't go to the matches. I've only been to one game ever at the stadium. So because I don't go, I don't know what the feeling is and why people have done it. At the end of the day, they may be singing for the manager, but there's a lot more now that are singing against the board. So, and why that is, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's, normally the manager does badly, the board gets it, and so does the manager. But this time round, it seems to be that the board are getting it in some part, and the manager's not. And I can't answer that because I'm not a match day going person, so I couldn't answer that at
So,
all.
Jake, do you think maybe it's a case of that the people might not like the Pharaoh, but they're really impressed by the pyramids? So they're just, looking around in awe at all these different, like the stadium is this like entertainment megaplex. So they're like, yeah, we saw some goals. I can get some beer. It's pretty around here. I'm just sort of neutered, as opposed to if we were in our old crappier stadium and the same football was being played and we didn't have all these entertainment options and these bars to go to after and all this, and it didn't look so nice like it does now, that sort of neutered them. It's brought down the anger about 5 levels.
You've got families, you've got generations of people that are season ticket holders still now, that have been season ticket holders for generations, 3-4 generations through their families, and are Tottenham supporters through and through. Yet, if it was the way you're describing it, if it was someone like the tourist supporter that would go and get a ticket off the exchange, or would go to a handful of games, I can understand that. But the hardcore of the support in the stadium are from season ticket holders that have been season ticket holders for years and years. So that's why I can't quite answer it, because I know plenty of people that are season ticket holders, and they've been Tottenham through and through for generations. So and that's why I'm saying that stadium wise, I mean, I've been on with Savva before, but a couple of months ago, and we were talking about when we were good at home and stuff like that. And I was saying back then, the pull on social media as opposed to the stadium, it's totally polar opposite. But I will say that the traction may have been, I don't know, pie in the sky, where the traction would have been Jin at about 99% before, I've got a feeling that somewhere it could be 80% now. It could be 70% now, because it's starting to go like that in the stadium. But on social media, it's clearly like that already, and has been for a while.
Look,
How
quickly.
about the Savva? You can answer this. I don't mean to cut you off. My
That's
good.
right. I'm trying to end the show, but go on.
I didn't get to answer that question. That's cold, man.
Last thing, because I think because my Arsenal mate who knows a lot about football keeps asking me this. He keeps saying, why are we got the fans? They're a problem. They're not giving it to Ange at all. They're letting him get a free pass. What about the press? If you've noticed that the press would be attacking and circling like sharks for any other manager who had this record, they would just be literally like devouring this guy. And yet, overall, my friend who follows the British press and lives in England, he's like, I can't believe how light the press have gone on Ange as well. And for any other manager that was in this position, they would be like attack dogs or shark smelling.
The press is starting.
I believe it, but why is it taking this long? It seems like it should.
Because at first he was very nice in his press conferences. At first he was very charming. Now he's just turned into this really rude man that doesn't want to take responsibility. But listen, the last thing I want to say, right, is this. Right, when we talk about, the media turning, I'll ask this question to everyone. I don't want an answer because I really do need to end the show, but I'll leave everyone with this full
question.
Right? If we looked down the road and saw Man United doing this, which they are, they're this bad, right? We're all laughing. Oh, look how bad they are. They're terrible. If we look down the road, remember when Chelsea had a bad, oh, look how bad they are. They're terrible. Their manager's shit. When it's Spurs, we've got nothing but excuses rather than looking inwards and going, yeah, this is bad. And other clubs now, you think every other fan base is laughing because they see it. Half our fan base can't see it. That's why I'm always going to be Ange out. This man, for me, I'm sorry, he might be a nice guy. I don't know, right? But tactically, he's way in over his head.
I'm Anjin, man. I'm Anjin. I'm going to be Anjin because Ange being at the club, means that Daniel Levy just looks bad. So therefore, I'm Anjin, mate. I want him to stay there as long as possible.
Let it burn.
Because you reflect the club. And the same way I was with Nuno, the same way I am with Ange. Stay here, my man. You can have a job for life.
Yep, let it burn.
Amen.
Yep, I know what you
mean.
Look,
I want a new manager that takes us up the table. I'm being honest. I feel like this season could be rescued. I truly do. I truly think with a tactical manager, we could go deep in the Europa League. I'm looking right now and thinking the first tactical manager that Ange plays is going to outdo him in 2 legs. That's my way. But guys, I am going to end the show there, and I am going to transfer everyone over to Tottenham away in the viewers if you would like to go. Jose, thank you very much. Philly, Anthony, big up to everybody that's come on. A lot of people have come on. I must just say, Mark Taylor said, Ange lovers provide facts. Ange lovers provide facts. We are getting better. God, I can't even speak. Ange lovers provide facts. We are getting better. He says they can't because we're not. Alwyn has said, why would those clubs just let their managers leave mid-season? I understand. I think this was when we were talking about which managers, like, for example, could we get a Silva or a Thomas Frank? I don't care what anyone says. If Tottenham tried to turn the head of Thomas Frank, we would quadruple his wages. And Thomas Frank's been there so long, I don't care. Managers like that will want to come to Tottenham.
Agreed.
If anything, it's a huge payout when you get sacked.
Agreed.
SD Football has become a new channel member. Big up to you. Look out for the channel member only shows. And Crypto FFTV, big up to you. I said, for me, Ange's football is too aggressive. You could score a lot of goals, but then you risk conceding just as many. He doesn't get the balance right. And you know what? Thank you for the super chat. The one word, the key word in all of that is the penultimate word, balance. That's all I want. I want some balance. Talking about balance, I need to balance my YouTube with spending time with my wife. I am going to go and do that now. Otherwise, I will be divorced. Take care, everyone. Much love. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I don't even know if I'm excited for the game because who knows who's had Lasagna Gate or what's happening at Spurs.
It's a free hit.
We'll find that in the morning.
Big up Kate Rickman, by the way, in the chat.
Who what?
Big up Kate Rickman in the chat. The beautiful Kate Rickman.
Big up all my ladies. Take care, everyone. As always, Levy out, Ange out. But as always, come on, you Spurs.